sexy Kingpin.
By the way, just a heads up, I'm pressing the go live button right now. Boom.
Okay, I think
He's
hot
a
sexy
sexy
Kingpin would have been
like
really
the
great.
Kingpin in Daredevil from 2003.
Because I like to just
Oh,
I like
God.
to just drop in mid sentence for when it's just me and Adeline and Kezia, but we don't know each other that well yet, Meg. So I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I had your consent before we started.
Oh yeah,
Unlike-
Or
absolutely.
just hit the go button.
yeah,
Not just on me having a rant about Gal Gadot
Yeah.
being
God,
hot
getting a
Kingpin. Yeah.
Cold War zombies.
You know, you can't have it all. You can't be an excellent singer, beautiful, do your own stunts, and have good foresight as to what is tone deaf. Application of
Can't have it all.
empathy.
Yeah. Except Hugh Jackman, which is why I don't trust him. It all comes back to Hugh. It all comes back to Hugh, and I don't know, man. I'm just like too nice. That's
Seems
all I'm
too
gonna
nice.
say.
All right.
Seems too nice.
Yeah, we're waiting. Maybe there's a reason why they could finish doing Music Man besides the fact that there's a global pandemic.
I did hear
Forgot
something about
that.
Hugh
They
Jackman.
shut down Beetlejuice to do Music Man again, and then they didn't get to do Music Man.
I
Yeah.
did hear something about Hugh Jackman the other day that was something about like how what was it? It was some reporter who was saying that there were like all of these tanks just filled with dead clones of Hugh Jackman underneath the Music Man set.
Like
and-
the Prestige. Like
Yes, exactly. Precisely like the Prestige.
I love it.
That was the
That's
bit.
incredible.
Anyway, sorry, it didn't land. All right,
he
we'll
would
move
fall
on.
through the stage and then show up on the balcony somehow.
oh,
But it's like
God.
Hugh Jackman dresses Beetlejuice. What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That would actually
And every
kind of
night
rule.
he never knew if he was gonna be Beetlejuice or not.
Yeah, the whole being dead thing. I know all about Beetlejuice because I have hung out with teenagers before.
Theater kids.
Oh
Yeah,
God, I'm
specifically.
so glad that I am an adult woman now when Beetlejuice came out and not an angsty teen.
Oh, could you
Because-
imagine? Could you imagine if we were in high school right now?
God, dude. Especially because I grew up on Long Island, so I was in very close proximity to Broadway. So like I would go see a lot of shows. And when I would get hyper fixated on a musical, I was the worst person to be around. Just the worst. And I just, oh my God. Like Beetlejuice, that is just right up my alley.
That would have been your
So-
whole identity.
That would have been my whole life. I would have been kidding with what's her face so hard
Yes.
Lydia.
Everyone.
with Lydia, Miss Lydia. Like
I
I
feel
just
like-
had normal Beetlejuice when I was a teenager. That was enough. Like
Yeah, I was already in my Tim Burton phase. Could you imagine, Jackson? Could you imagine?
yeah, I
living in
know.
the same house as me.
God, I feel like it's Beetlejuice aside, I feel like it had been a hot second since we got like a brand new like Tumblr phenomenon, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It felt like
Oh,
we were
yeah.
overdue.
Tumblr strike TikTok phenomenon.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
True.
that
But
and
it's
the
the
Heather,
same-
the
same
Heather's
vibe.
musical is pretty cool with the teens, right? I'm
That's good. That
26,
was
so
big
I'm
on
pretty out of
TikTok.
touch.
My
I think that Heather's was more like for the musical theater teens, and then
Okay.
Beetlejuice was like, oh my gosh, have you heard of Beetlejuice? If you haven't heard of it, then I don't know what's up. Begin.
Yeah.
That's what my middle school students sounded like anyway. That's not true.
Oh God.
my girlfriend in high school, still girlfriend, Anna McGuire.
Why would you say my girlfriend?
I don't know. Well, because the story takes place in high school, so I said my girlfriend in high school made it seem like we
Okay.
had broken up. We haven't. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Congratulations for
not-
starters.
not
You
relevant.
know,
Okay.
Really happy.
That's
for you.
Yeah, thank you.
sufficient for compliments.
Thank you very much. Thank you. She was like obsessed with Heather's the musical for a brief period, and
Okay.
like she and all of, I want to say all of her friends as if they weren't also my friends, but I'm being dismissive. So it's all of her
It's-
dumb friends.
It's for the
all
storyline.
of her high school friends that you're definitely not friends with
Right.
anymore, and
When-
your high school girlfriend.
would
You know
like
what? Drop any high school friend you got, honestly.
would play that candy store song so often, and I hated it so
Oh.
much that it just became like, you know, like the sensation when you set a song as your alarm and then you like wince every time you hear it. That was how I
Who
felt
says by Selena Gomez?
for
Yeah.
like any time any song from Heather's would play when I was in my senior year of high school. I was like, oh fuck, please turn that off. I can't handle it. Not that there's anything
How do you
inherently
feel
wrong
about
with
the Riverdale?
Heather's. I was just so sick of it. I think Riverdale's fun.
You like the Riverdale version of Candy Store, though?
Oh wait, no, I haven't. I'm not aware of that. I mean, I am aware of
God.
it, but I
Forgot
haven't
that they
seen
put
it.
on Heather's in Riverdale. I forgot that happened.
At one point, because they have to change the lyrics, but some of the lyrics they change doesn't make sense. Like, they're like, you don't have to prove you're not a doorknob anymore.
What was the original word?
You're not a pussy.
Oh,
Or they could say, like,
why wouldn't they say
loser
doormat?
again. Yeah, I don't know. They say doorknob.
Okay.
And
It's
this is
not a rhyme.
on Riverdale?
This is on Riverdale. I've only ever seen the musical episodes of Riverdale, so I don't know if there's like maybe it was a callback. Maybe
Could be.
I don't know. But
Also,
it
really quick. I have started recording, so I just I did not know when to start recording, so I just hit record on my
We're not
computer
ready
now.
yet. Usually we like to
Okay,
just hang out on
Great.
stream
I was
for a little while.
really worried. I was like, oh god, what if I missed all of this content?
No, it's all right. We what we
It's
usually
alright.
do is we just hang out on stream, like get a vibe for like who's in the chat and such. And then we at a certain point, like 15 minutes in, we all hit record on our things for the audio for the actual podcast that'll go out into the world later.
Okay, great. Because I was
and-
just very stressed. I was like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, no problem.
This is exclusive Riverdale content on the stream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is why
This is
people
a
tune in.
Riverdale podcast now. This is what are the fans called? What are Riverdale fans?
Good question.
Archies?
The Archies? Yeah.
I don't that's the band that the art. Okay, also, it's a lot to call the band that you started the Archies. Like
Does that happen in Riverdale?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
well, there is a real life band called, you know, the song Sugar, Sugar, da, 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 da,
Right.
da, da. No, wait, is it Sugar? I think that's the Archie. I'm looking this
Yeah.
up now. Hold on.
The
Sugar, the
melody of
Archies. Yeah,
Lowrider.
yeah.
For the Archies, except that that's the monkeys.
Hey, we're the Archies.
And people say we
And
Archie
I slept
around.
with my teacher.
And I had statutory rape with my teacher.
My friend got murdered. I don't know anything else
Have
about
to watch
Riverdale.
Riverdale at some point and do
Hold
an
on one second.
episode on it.
Yes.
Like, we talk
Yeah.
about it too much to have never seen all
It's
of
true.
it.
It's true.
Two, I've never seen any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen three episodes of Riverdale.
I watched like the first 3 episodes because I was curious, and I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, I'm choosing to be into this. It's big, it's weird, it looks like a Pinterest
So stop
mood board.
watching it.
I've been like, yeah, sure. I'm gonna say that I'm all in on Riverdale, even though I'm not. It's almost a bit, but like, maybe I should watch the rest of it. I don't know. It seems like the rest of it maybe gets weird, but whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You put your stamp of approval on Riverdale, I think, way too early.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I watched. You are a stronger person than I, because I could only make it through. I think it's episode 2 where Punished Betty comes in,
Yeah.
and I was just
Punished
like, "What?"
Betty?
That is like the only way I can describe what was going on in that scene. She like wears like a black bob wig and like tries to boil someone alive in a hot tub, and I was just like,
She's like a stripper.
yeah, and I was just like, I don't know if it's because like again like, you know, I'm in my mid-20s now. Maybe this just isn't for me anymore. Like, like, am I too old? Am I not getting it? Like, I was just like, I don't want to look at horny teens anymore. I don't. Like,
Right.
it's not. I really am not interested. I understand that.
25-year-old humans pretending to be 16-year-old
Right.
humans.
Yeah,
Yes,
people
it's like
older
being-
than me pretending to be younger than me.
Yeah, like I
In like
understand
the
that
most
Riverdale
adult
cast is, like,
situations.
yeah, and like I know the Riverdale cast is like all my age. Like I know like Cole Sprouse is like 2 years older than me. Like Lily Reinhardt's like a year younger than me. Whatever. But like just it's the same reason why I won't watch Euphoria. It's just I have
Right.
been out of high school for like 8 long years, and the last thing I want to do is think about like high school again. I just don't. I don't want it. Like give me more stories with college age adults. Like, you know, not to give Lena Dunham credit because she's a goblin. But Girls slapped. Girls was awesome. It was really nice to watch women in their early to mid 20s navigating their lives. And like, it was a breath of fresh air other than like watching a 15-year-old have sex with a teacher because it's just weird and it makes me want to take a shower. Like,
I just like how
That really
serious
is-
it is about everything. It's
yeah,
like
it's as serious as a fucking heart attack.
which is what's so
Did you-
funny to me, and like when that's what makes it all the more wonderful when Cole Sprouse is like, I'm a weirdo. I don't want to fit in. You're just like, yeah, I believe it, Cole.
Did anyone watch the television program Rise on NBC when it was out?
No,
Like
but that sounds so familiar.
Oh my gosh, it's literally my favorite show ever. There was only 10 episodes because it was the worst TV show. It was like all 6 seasons of Glee, like every issue that ever arose. Like, oh, we have a gay student, and we have a transgender student, and we have poor girl, her mom is sleeping with the football coach, and her daughter, the daughter of the football coach, is upset. Like all of these crazy problems in 10 episodes. So like all in one episode, you meet like cool football guy wants to do music. Nerd girl doesn't fit in, really good at music. Like all of crazy things, and they take it so seriously, and it's so stupid, but it was my favorite show ever. I desperately wanted a second season, but it was so bad there was no way it was gonna get one.
Oh god, I love when you find a show that's just garbage, but it's specially made for you, and you're like, you know what? That's like that's how I feel about Penny Dreadful. Penny Dreadful, objectively, not that good. It's not. It's shot really well. The costumes are stunning, but the plot, it's there. But like, you know, it was a show made for me. It has vampires. It has Timothy Dalton and Ava Green and her big old titties. I was super happy with that. And then, you know what? That's fine. And I like, people don't like Penny Dreadful. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I get that. You have every reason not to like it. But it's for me.
How long was Eva Green on Penny Dreadful? I didn't even know
she's
she was
the main character.
Really?
She's Miss Penny Dreadful herself.
I guess that's where she's been all this time.
Dreadful.
Every time she's in a movie, I'm always like, oh, I like Eva Green. I wonder why she's not in more things. I guess it's because she's been on Penny Dreadful this whole time.
Well, what happened was she actually... So here's my thing about Penny Dreadful. I know I made a terrible case for it just now, but if you get the chance, you should watch it. It is very fun if you're into horror and period pieces, which are 2 of my favorite things. So it was just like tailor-made for me. But
yeah, Penny Dreadful is kind of like what they wanted the dark universe to be, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because it's Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Dracula. The whole gang's all there, and Dorian Gray for some fucking reason. Because why not?
Throw in Boogie.
Yeah, he's just there, and he's fine. And he's not fine. Dorian Gray was like my least favorite character, and I feel feral talking about him because he just made me so mad. But yeah.
But that's the point.
Yeah, and like Ava Green was the main character. She's phenomenal. Just stunning, everything you could want in a main character. So well written, just really interesting. She's a phenomenal actress. And the show actually got canceled because Tim Burton decided that Ava Green was his new wife, and that she's just going to be in like every project of his for the foreseeable future. So Penny Dreadful got canceled because she was in Miss Peregrine's Home for Weird Kids.
Yeah.
I know that's not the name of that movie. I just think it's funny to call it that. Which I saw because she was in it, and it sucked. Boy, did it suck.
Yeah, no, not a good one. We've gone deep on Tim Burton in this podcast and how it's been approximately 20 years since he made anything worth watching.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in that club. He's in the like 2002 cutoff club.
Yep.
My mom.
When did Big Fish come out? Because that's his last good one.
I think my personal feeling is that I think Sweetie Todd is his last good one.
Yeah.
That's like 2007. Oh, we did talk about that. We said Sweeney Todd is the cutoff.
Yeah.
I did agree to that.
And you know what?
Yeah, because Alice in Wonderland was right after Sweeney Todd. I love Corpse Bride.
Okay, wait, but
it's excellent.
But Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, y'all.
Yeah, see, that's the other one that I'll stand up for.
That's the tricky thing.
Yeah. Because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is doo-doo. Like, just absolute
Oh, wait, no, wait, hold on. I just realized we're on opposite sides of this.
Oh, no, wait, are y'all Charlie and the Chocolate Factory stands?
Yes, we are. We like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I'm so sorry. Listen, I am team Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I go nuts for that movie. Like, I think my dad's favorite actor, or one of his favorite actors, was Gene Wilder. So, like, I got a special place in my heart.
Dad. That's like under your contract when you become a father. Like, you have sex and make a baby.
When you become a father, you get a DVD of Young Frankenstein, and you just make your kids watch it.
Yeah.
Just bring up Blazing Saddles, but don't actually watch it.
Yeah.
You just glaze over the whole like racism fact of Blazing Saddles to your kids, and you just make them watch it anyway. Like, it's fine. It's all good. It's all good.
Cause see, we
He's on the horse.
when we were
Look at him
talking
go.
about, because we compare like Robert Zemeckis and Tim Burton are the guys who like somewhere around the turn of the century just lost it, right? And
Yeah.
like Zemeckis is much cleaner. Like after the year 2000, you're like Robert Zemeckis hasn't made a good movie since then, except for like maybe Allied, maybe.
Yeah,
And, like-
I can't even like name you a Zemeckis movie that came out after the 2000s.
Right. And like Tim Burton is like a little bit squishier because you're like, some people like Corpse Bride and Charlie and the Chocolate
Corpse
Factory
Bride.
we like, but like
Yeah.
for the
And
most
Big
part,
Fish is his masterpiece. Like I will sit
Yeah.
here and argue until the cows come home that Big Fish is Tim Burton's best movie, hands down.
It's an
I
excellent film.
Love Mars Attacks.
Oh, you know what? Okay, addendum. Haven't seen Mars Attacks, so I
Oh,
can't
it's
really
so
sit here.
good.
Yeah.
I've got
It's
some
so
blind
weird.
spots.
Yeah. Well,
We
'cause
should watch Mars
I
Attacks.
know exactly what happened to Mars Attacks because this is when my Tim Burton phase pays off. Because that movie, they advertised it as an action Independence Day serious sci-fi thriller movie, and
Right.
that's just absolutely not what it is.
Well, it
at
also-
all. They're these little eyeball aliens. Like it's totally making fun of the genre and all that stuff. But because they advertised it so incorrectly, people just hated it. They hated it.
Well, yeah, because it came out like a couple of months after Independence Day.
Yeah,
And
so
people
they're
saw
like, "Oh, it's like
Independence Day.
Independence Day
We're like,
again," and
fuck
it's-
yeah, I love this. We're saving America from the aliens. Independence Day rules. And they're like, go to see a movie that's basically making fun of Independence Day. And they're like,
Yeah.
hey, fuck off. We liked Independence Day. Like,
Yeah, like, no one
America?
wants to be told they're stupid. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, and then they
just
advertised it as
different.
Independence Day 2 when it was actually fucking Independence Day. So it was bad.
Ugh.
It didn't work out.
Mismarketing a movie is truly like just such a crying shame because like there are some truly phenomenal films that have just been horribly marketed and you're just like it's so hard to convince people to watch them after like they've got this idea in their head that like it's supposed to be one way. Like I'm a very big fan of Jennifer's Body and I tweet about it like at least once a month I think where I'm just like Jennifer's Body deserved more because it did. I mean like it was marketed as this edgy horror film written by the Diablo Cody and like it was going to be like really cool and like scary and that
right.
movie is hilarious. It's just a black comedy, that's all it is. Like it's just like a horror comedy and like it's honestly like really well written and like it did not get the love it deserved at
That
all.
being said, I would give so much money to be in the first like public screening of Sweeney Todd to see that first instance when they start singing because god that must just be to see this ocean theater full of like hardcore horror fans to be so upset that they're being forced to watch a musical. It just
Yeah.
I would give so much money to be in that room.
Right. And the context on that being that they didn't show any singing in the trailers for that movie.
Yeah, no, they had no clue that it was a musical unless you knew, basically.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Oh, I just remember taking my poor mom to see that because it was rated R and I was in 8th grade and I like couldn't obviously go on my own. So my mom had to take me and she was like so not happy because she had already seen Sweeney Todd on Broadway and had a very unpleasant experience because my mom doesn't like anything sad. She just refuses to consume media that is sad, which good for her. So yeah, she was not happy about that one at all.
Okay,
Like-
I'm quite happy with this conversation because we are setting up a lot of threads that pertain to the notes I have written down about Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh, God.
Why don't we go ahead and start our recordings?
All right.
Gotcha.
Whenever you're ready. Usually what we do, just in order to get a sync so that I
A
can put
sync
them
up
together
going?
afterwards, is we just do a little improv exercise where we each say one word at a time and like make a sentence. So we'll go
Oh, cool.
Jackson,
Go
Adeline,
Every
Keisha,
time.
Meg, and we'll just go through.
One moment, I just need to plug in my charger so my computer doesn't die while we're recording. 'cause
No
that would be
problemo.
very sad. Okay, 1 second. I'm the least coordinated person on the planet.
Audacity. Every time I open Audacity, I just think of McCavity.
Audacity, audacity.
The very cat the cat.
Oh yes.
I've
Yeah,
actually
the
never
ginger
seen
cat.
cats.
I haven't
Oh.
either.
Yeah, that's another
It's-
thing my mom hates is cats.
Oh,
so
you
I
don't know about
God awful.
Skimbleshanks?
So
life
good.
from- Yeah.
Jackson
Oh.
has been going off on Skimbleshanks.
Ooh, Skimbleshanks is my man.
The real way
I
cat.
think I saw you tweet about Skimbleshanks.
Yeah,
quite
I
recently.
did. I did
think that
tweet
was
about
very
Skimbleshanks within the last few
Yeah.
days multiple times.
Jackson, your tweet about Skimbleshanks was so close to being like, I kin Skimbleshanks. It was so, you don't understand how close you were to saying that.
I might. If I did some real searching, I might find that I do.
Yeah.
All right, my computer is all plugged in. I am ready to go.
Rock and roll. Okay, everybody recording?
Okey-doke.
No.
Let me hit
I
record.
am.
Say 3, 2,
Okay,
1.
I am recording.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go,
also
like I said, Jackson, Adeline, Kezia, Meg. I'll say, water
Is
Wet.
All the time.
okay, yeah, I guess that'll work.
oh, okay,
I
sure.
didn't know where to go with that. I was like,
It's fine. It's because Adeline and Kezia formed a complete sentence with a period at the
Hey,
end of it.
Keisha could have said any other word ever.
What would you have said?
Any other
What would
word,
I have said?
anything. Water
Exactly.
is
Water is
anything.
Water is
Delicious
anything.
when
Water is
you drink it. That would have been a longer complete sentence.
okay, but you also could have said water is wet when you drink it. So it's the same sentence. You can also stop
Yeah.
at water is delicious. My dad has said that sentence many times in his life. He's like, is there anything tastier than a glass of cold water on a hot day? He says it all the time. That's
Okay,
what the
wait,
sentence I
real
would've
quick,
chosen.
before we start the podcast, we'll go around. Are you a cold water person or a room temperature water person?
Ooh.
oh God, room temperature water is like cruel and unusual punishment.
Ooh.
See,
I don't know.
I will die on that
I'm
hill.
all about that room temperature water because your body absorbs it faster. If it's cold, your body has to warm it up first.
It's tricky.
No,
It's tricky. It depends on the context.
What do you
Room
mean?
temperature feels like licking cloth, and I will not
No,
explain.
man, it goes
further.
smooth.
Because if you're like really, if you've got a powerful thirst and you just gotta get like the greatest volume of water inside of you as quickly as possible, that's when room temperature water really hits the spot. But if you're
like
just
super
hanging
thirsty
around,
and you drink cold water, you're like gonna die. Like it doesn't
yeah,
feel good.
it kind of hurts. But
I like the pain.
Observed
right,
My observed experience, most old Chinese women defer to drinking hot water. So
whoa,
That makes
Oh.
sense.
that sounds horrible to me.
Yeah.
you
in any
think that's what you
context.
think, but the older I get, the more I'm like, I kind of just want a glass of hot water.
Can someone give me a glass of steamed water, please?
And that's my
Steamed
cultural
water?
experience, and I won't let you erase it.
Okay.
Don't silence her, Jackson.
I mean,
That's-
like,
hey.
I
Do you just
respect it.
mean do you mean like hot like
Yes, Jackson,
coffee
I
temperature
mean-
water or just like hot out of the
Yes.
tap?
Like, we will go to a restaurant and order a pot of tea and a pot of just hot water.
Yikes.
Ugh.
But do you take it like
Ugh.
hot water and lemon is like a thing?
Yeah, but
If
there's
you're-
nothing in
if
it.
you're
It's
ill.
just water.
Yeah, that's medicine. You gotta
Yeah.
like plug your nose.
No,
and
it's
take
just
your
hot
lumps.
water, Jackson.
Listen, the Chinese go even harder when it comes to hot water and lemon medicine because it'll be like hot water and lemon and green onions and boiled until it's black. And I
Whoa.
tell you that
We've talked
it's
about that
gross.
before.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
that
wait,
sounds-
wait, wait,
that
wait, wait.
Sounds painful.
It's bad.
So
Yeah.
wait, what part of it is turning black?
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know how it
It's a
turns
secret,
black.
Jackson.
Are like
Don't dwell on it too much, because then you'll just be haunted.
There's, like,
I think that's
chunks.
what the Venom symbiote is actually.
That's how you
probably
make-
that's what I imagine venom tastes like.
Venom tastes like hot water.
Green onions
hot
in
water
it.
with green onions. See, weirdly, I'm more concerned like with lemon, fine. With green onions, fine. It's the combination that's making my skin
And-
crawl.
Like sweet, like honey is in there too. I'm pretty
Oh.
sure it's so bad.
Are we
It's
gonna
the
have to
worst
set up a
beverage.
taste test eventually?
If
Yeah,
you
man.
want, I'll have Ping
Let's get
come and cook for us.
interactive. Hey, everybody at home, we're gonna make
Hot water with
play along,
onions.
gamers.
You can do this right from the comfort of your own kitchen.
Yeah, Rachel Ray, scoot the fuck over. It's our turn.
We should do a cooking channel that's all about hot water.
Yeah.
Just
Try
ways to enjoy
weird
hot
Chinese
water.
recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keisha, can we get like your grandma on the show to just tell us recipes?
Maybe technology is not her friend, but we can try for sure.
Can we
so
try to get her to figure out how Skype even works?
FaceTime already a problem.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and perform our intro. I'm sure that we've begun the podcast by now, but I'll just
I'm
say
sure.
now.
That hot water, that was a good discussion.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to the show. The show's called No Nerds Allowed. My name's Jackson McMurray.
Hey. My name's Adeline McMurray.
It's Kezia Rhodes.
And Meg, you
And
can say
I'm
your name if you want to.
Okay, I was like, and I'm Cosmonaut Meg.
We like to
do this every time we have a guest. We
I like to
just
keep it
go
spicy.
and expect them to understand what's happening,
Yeah.
and every single intro is just us explaining the intro to the guest.
I feel like it
Yeah,
should
it's
be
good.
our courtesy to introduce the
People
guest.
expect it. No, because here's what I'm gonna say. Hey, Cosmonaut Meg, what are you up to? What do you want to plug on our show right up top?
Oh boy, so I am on Twitter all the time, just very terminally online. You can follow me at Megan's the
Terminally.
Worst. I also am a part of a little channel called the Cosmonaut Variety Hour. And I also have my own little side channel called the Cosmonaut Corner, where I put up videos whenever I feel like it.
Hell yeah. So,
Good schedule to keep.
good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Today is a landmark day because we're discussing the most important film of the 21st century, despite it taking place in the previous one. You see what I did there? Because it's called
Whoa.
Wonder Woman
Intrigue.
1984. All right, fellas. What,
Brothers.
brothers? What? How do we?
Countrymen.
We gotta. So let's just say I have taken 3 pages of notes on Wonder Woman 1984
Oh,
when I
wow.
was
my
watching it.
God.
I-
Oh my god.
This is my second time watching it. First time, Christmas Day. All right.
Okay.
Our family, we're hanging out.
One
We're opening presents, spending good quality time. Hit the afternoon, we're all kind of doing our own thing. We decided we wanted to watch Soul, like in the evening together as a family. And I was like, I don't have anything else going on. I'll unwrap this nice little Christmas present Warner Brothers left for me under the tree called Wonder Woman 1984. And, you know, it was not good. And it pretty much, I'm just gonna say it, right? Like, it ruined Christmas. Is it
I
fair
think
to
that's
say
a
that
fair
it
take.
ruined
That's
Christmas?
a very fair statement. That's a
Yeah,
very
Christmas
fair
was
statement.
canceled this year, but
Yeah.
just like kind of like in the middle of it, like 2 p.m. Christmas was just canceled.
They just
and I think we all
decided
got that email from
not to,
Santa. that
yeah.
was like,
Holiday
hey-
cheer came to a screeching halt. in the
yeah,
farmer's
just like, hey,
market
sorry
aisle.
kids, Warner Brothers really screwed the pooch on
Yeah,
this one.
'cause
We're
Wonder
not
Woman
having
killed
Christmas anymore.
Christmas.
We might not have it next year, just because.
Yeah, historians will look back on Christmas 2020 and there'll just be a little asterisk that says redacted.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? What happened? And then Diana Prince will be there because she works at a museum.
Oh.
And she'll be like, ooh, that's my
Yeah,
bad,
well.
guys, but in an Israeli accent.
You want to know, of course there are many things to be upset about this movie with, but you know what weirdly sticks in my craw the most is that it has been 70 years since the last time we saw this character in canon, and she is just chilling.
Same.
Like, she doesn't seem to be sad. She doesn't seem to feel any kind of ennui about her situation. She's just totally chill and, like, ready to, like, go to work every morning without any problems. And then
Spider-Man-ing
later,
her.
when she engages in some sort of emotional arc, she's like, this is the only thing that has made me sad in the last 70 years. It's like, why? It's just insane to me
Dude,
that we're
dude,
expected to
set
believe
you.
that nothing has happened to her between
Like, and to your point,
1911 and 1984.
like like adding on to the 70 years thing, because this is a glaring question I had yesterday while watching this movie.
Right.
Did she just sit out on World War II?
Yeah.
And the Korean War
Exactly.
in Vietnam?
Yeah,
Diana, hello?
that happens.
Like, you were just living out
Nazis
your
are here. Can you
fucking
help us, Wonder
museum
Woman? Hello?
fantasies while people were dying?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
But then she's
Yeah,
like, oh, but
and
some people
Diana's
are
just
mugging
like-
a jewelry store. That's where I draw the line. Like, I've got to intervene on that. We can't let
mind
the
you.
jewelry store get robbed.
Because malls, the 80s.
It's true.
Okay, is it in the first movie? Are they like, Diana, if you go to the not Amazonian world, you may never return?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the thing.
It's
It's a dumb
that's
thing, but it's a
stupid.
thing.
Because, like, now she's just cursed to roam the earth forever and just
Yep.
watch everyone she's ever known or loved die.
No,
it's
I
a
wouldn't.
miserable
why-
fate. Like,
I
I
can see
Right.
why she wouldn't want to, like, create any new relationships.
yeah, I mean, like, I get the whole, like, you know, circles, keep my circle small thing. Like, that, like, I mean, there's so many, plenty of better things in pop culture where someone lives a very long time and they're sad and it's portrayed in a much more eloquent way. And
America.
oh my God, I just, like I said before, I'm physically pained by this movie. Like, it's just,
Heart palpitations.
I just, even coming up with the words to find right now, the anger and just rage, I just, like, like, if I could just scream into a bucket and just record that would be my review.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
I have done.
See our
Screaming
off
into
air.
buckets is it's very effective. It's very
Find it on our Patreon. Meg just screaming into a bucket. We don't have a
exclusive
Patreon.
Patreon content is just me screaming into a bucket. I would absolutely pay premium dollars for
Like,
that.
oh yeah, that's worth $5 a month.
Absolutely.
And look, I'm definitely gonna want to listen to it again next month. That's what keeps me subscribed. I keep coming back to
Yeah.
that well.
Just for it's the same scream every month, but you know.
But
It's
just
like how
to
I'm
different
subscribed to Disney
things.
Plus and I only watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit on it. That's what our Patreon is like.
I just watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit on a continuous loop every single day. I
Dude,
love
can
Who
you
Framed
just
Roger
rent me
Rabbit.
for fucking filth? Like that's
What? That's
Hey,
what I
that's
do. That's the
exactly why
truth.
I have Disney Plus.
Who
isn't
Framed
it?
Roger
Hmm.
Rabbit is a blessing, and whatever way you need to ingest Roger Rabbit and that car. What's the car's name? Taxi Bernie, something like.
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
I love that
Taxi
little
Man.
car.
Yeah,
And he
and
like
you know
drives
what's
through the
and you
soup.
know what's like the best part is Who Framed Roger Rabbit is actually a pleasant watching experience.
Hell yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no part of Who Framed Roger Rabbit where I feel like I'm going to jump out of my skin if the movie doesn't end within 30 minutes.
And it's
And
gonna keep going
your
for like
state?
another hour.
Yeah. Like,
Who
I
Framed
would
Roger
just
Rabbit has interesting characters, and you know what they
well-developed
want.
characters. It has very like clear, you know, start, middle, finish. You've got a great villain,
The villain is intimidating.
yes, terrifying, which unfortunately Wonder Woman 84 does not have. And like okay. So before I
Feel
just like
Turned on Wonder Woman 1984, and it just Who Framed Roger Rabbit started playing.
I would be
But it's just like,
grateful.
This is Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, this is Wonder Woman 1984. It's just Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, I would, you know what I would have
Film of
enjoyed
the
more than
year.
Wonder Woman 1984? I would have enjoyed Wonder Woman watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, that's
Oh.
it. Like, the camera's just behind Diana's head.
Like a
and it's just-
reaction video.
yeah.
And Steve watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, hell yeah. That fucking
Yeah.
rule.
Oh, yeah. That would be sick. I would pay money to see that. And I'm
It's
so
like Mystery
excited-
Science Theater 3000, except just
Right.
Wonder Woman and Steve's
Yes.
like, but it's animated, it's not real, and she's like, yeah, they just draw it and then they direct it. And he's like, whoa.
That would be sick. There's so many other things that I could have done in that 2 hours and 30 minutes. And instead, I was watching the female version of Tommy Wiseau just bumble on a screen with like the charisma of a cardboard box. Just be so. Because the thing is, it wasn't fun bad. There's fun
Right,
bad,
right.
and then there's bad bad. And Wonder Woman 1984 was not, by any stretch, fun bad. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was just Gal Gadot living out her IDF fantasies. It was very weird. It made me very uncomfortable. It just was just dog shit. Like, I really can't say any. I'm sorry, I'm like hijacking your podcast.
No, it's all right.
So
No, the stage is
my
yours.
hatred. I just am so like, I wish I had more intelligent things to say, like, oh, shot composition or the script, or but I can only just be reduced to this pile of anger that is, what was the fucking point of that movie?
Right. See, I like to, on this podcast, I like to, like, do some research before I come in. I like to dig into the vaults, take a look at Wikipedia, take a look at, like, do a Google search for the title of the movie and then the word interview, just see what happens, you know? And
Pop, pop. Sometimes it's an interview.
yeah, usually I can get some hot goss, especially when it's a movie that's whack, and you can be like, oh, like, now I kind of see why this didn't quite come together because of this and that and the other thing, and this person has a weird energy in this interview, and it seems like they maybe hate this movie, you know? But like, every piece of, like, I have not been able to unearth anything about Wonder Woman 1984. As far as I can tell, it just, you know, some people got together, they were like, Wonder Woman 2, let's do it, and they wrote this script, and they filmed it, and then they put it all together, did some special effects, and put it on out there. There's, like, no drama to be found.
Yeah,
regarding
like, I know
this project.
With, like, Rogue One, there was like some stuff where like the direction, like the director might not have been very clear, which is why Felicity, what's her name, Felicity Jones?
Felicity Jones, yeah.
Yeah, is that why she comes across as wooden? And like, you know, there are other pieces of media where you can go, oh, because of X, Y, like even Suicide Squad, you can make a case for and say, you know, there was a huge disconnect between director and studio, and everybody had different desires, and like even some good movies have like weird studio overreach, like Thor Ragnarok feels like two different movies because it feels like there's the movie Taika wanted to make, and it feels like there's the movie Disney wanted to make, and still very good. You could still make a decent movie with all those things considered, and like Wonder Woman, just like, I just don't know, it really blows my mind how this movie got made, because I really don't have one nice thing to say about it. I don't.
We did Wonder Woman, and that did good, so let's do it again, and then they did it again.
Right.
But it feels like they were trying to do, like, this is Wonder Woman's version of Winter Soldier, where instead of it being like grand war, but this will be like a slower, like, character focused, like what matters to the character's values, and they focused on
Well, okay, so I have, just like regarding like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the messaging of this movie, I like, obviously I don't think what they're trying to say is be complacent, don't wish for things. Like what they're thematically setting up is like, you know, there are like easy ways to do things that you can take shortcuts and screw over other people in the process, or you can put in the extra work and do it the hard way and, you know, do it right, and that will be much more satisfying for you in the long run. Right, and sorry, 1 second, guys. Something weird is going on with my audio. I'm gonna just hang up on the Discord call and reconnect and see if that fixes it. Okay, go ahead and say something for me. Oh, wait, just thinking about it. Computer's working very hard. You guys hear me? Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. can't hear any of you guys. This is almost certainly a problem on my end. Give me just a second. Oh boy, sorry about this. I don't know what you guys mean when you say looping. I don't know what that means. Are you there? Can you guys hear me? I still can't hear you. No, why would this be? So you guys, you guys are coming in through the audio, but I can't hear you. Why is that happening? Just playing a small audio clip on loop. What the hell? What the hell? I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm trying some stuff.
But how do you feel about beauty?
Oh no, are we telling Meg about beauty?
Beauty.
Not telling. We told her.
I'm learning things.
What is...
See, I lose sleep overnight knowing that there is a YouTube video, a series of YouTube videos that I made because I wanted to make Sims 2 music videos starring My Chemical Romance. And I made quite a few of them. Because I was so... I don't know if you've ever seen the Sims 2 music video for Helena, but it is incredible. It is a masterpiece. The woman who made it spent like 80 to 100 hours working on it. And I spent maybe 4 hours working on mine. So it's kind of like that scene in Parks and Rec when, what's his face, Adam Scott
Could a
character?
depressed person make this?
Could a depressed person do this? That is basically what those videos look like. And I was like so proud of myself. I was in like 8th grade and I like put them on YouTube and like showed them to people. I showed them to people. Like I am haunted by that. I just seriously thought these were cool. I was like, look at Sim Gerardway singing Welcome to the Black Parade. Is this cool, guys? And all my friends were like, yeah, Megan, that's sick. Like,
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah.
Like what
God,
the
see,
hell?
I need to make a new YouTube channel, like personal one, because it's literally just my old speed draws. Some of them are bad. I don't like that shit anymore. Like it's just bad. Don't look over there.
We appear to be back up and running. Did you guys stop your recordings on your
Fantastic.
respective things?
I did not.
Not
I
okay,
super
perfect.
didn't.
No, that's
Okay,
that's
good.
fine. We'll just leave it. I will
like,
start.
Should I have?
Oh no. Okay, I got my hot takes ready to
Wait,
go.
wait,
so
wait,
we
wait,
just
wait.
wanna jump back in.
Wait. Hold.
I got 3 hot takes. Just go, ready to go.
Boom,
Okay.
boom,
Ian,
boom.
coach.
Okay, let's go.
I got medium.
Okay.
Lukewarm.
So-
Let's just there for the podcast. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this together. I had some technical difficulties. Don't remember what we were talking about, but let's kick it to Adeline. Adeline, go for it.
I got hot fucking takes. Ready to hot cross buns. So
Yeah, a hot
take
minute with
number 1.
Adeline.
So what we were talking about before, that it's weird that it's been 70 years and she's weirdly just chilling. It's
Right.
It's weird that she's only sad about Steve.
Right.
And
Right.
no other person that she has ever met ever.
Uh-huh.
It just makes her seem unempathetic and also boy crazy, which is bad for a female superhero when we only have like a one in the DC universe. Like, it's not a good look. And
Right.
it's just like, it's if she hadn't moved on from anything, if she was still just 100% living in the past, and then like her still holding on to Steve was like a symptom of that, it'd be like, oh yeah, totally. But she's moved on from literally everything else except Steve, and she knew Steve for like a month. So it's weird. It's weird that she's so hung up on him and only him. It's just
Right.
Right.
It's just
it's weird.
lazy. It's lazy writing because like you take this really you take this really complicated character. Well, could be a complicated character, and you just boil her down to like 3 things, and it's like men, being an Amazonian, and the truth. That's it.
The truth.
That's what
And
that's
the
what it
truth.
is.
What do they say in Cloud
It's like-
Atlas?
In Cloud Atlas.
Isn't there something about the
Uh-uh.
truth where they say it in a funny voice in Cloud Atlas? Maybe I'm making that up. Whatever.
Anyway, I have a second take, and it's a more of an overall take. But this is a take that I've had for a very long time, where I think Jackson's probably heard this take like 3 times. I'm gonna have him pretend like he hasn't. I think Thor and Wonder Woman are extremely, extremely, extremely similar characters. They're both based in like mythology. They're both like very serious, very out of touch with the time that they're in, and comedy ensues from that point. Like, and the thing about both these characters, originally, like in their comics, like in their OG comics, they're very like silly characters. Like, they're light-hearted characters. And then in the modern, like, movie interpretation of these characters, they're very, very serious, and they take themselves so serious, and it's so lame and boring, and you don't care about them. Like, I struggled to care about Thor until Thor Ragnarok, when they let him be silly and colorful and funny, and, like, just do things and wear his stupid helmet and fight the Hulk. Like, when we got to do fun things and be silly, that's when I really started to care about Thor.
Right.
But they can't. And so I thought that this movie was gonna be Wonder Woman's Thor Ragnarok, where she would get to be silly, and we would have the invisible jet, and we would have the crazy 80s aesthetic. And when I was little and I would go to the library, I would get the old Wonder Woman comic books from like the 80s. I think it was actually the quote unquote the new Wonder Woman series, where she like renounces her powers and like becomes a detective.
Yeah,
And it was very much aimed for girls, so she's like always in like these outfits from like the 70s with like a white leather detective coat and like boots to match. Like, I love that shit. That's what I wanted this movie to be. I just wanted them to have fun and go crazy and be silly.
Right.
But we can't. I don't know if, like, they just can't make Wonder Woman silly. And of course there's gender politics in it, of like, would they take a silly female character serious? And like, of course that's an aspect of it. But I would find Wonder Woman so much more interesting if she didn't just have to be so stone cold serious and take herself so seriously. Like, we get the invisible jet in this movie, but how we get it is so stupid, because
In
Wonder
the
Woman's
most
just like,
ridiculous, obtuse way possible. The
Yeah.
entire,
yeah, she's
that
just like,
scene could have been cut from the movie, and it would not have made a difference there. It literally, there would have been no reason for it to be there at all.
Right. And
It's just-
yeah, we have to address just like the only time I think ever, and as far as I know, ever in history, that any version of Wonder Woman has had the power to turn objects invisible just because.
Yeah,
like,
but only
the-
jets.
The
and boats.
one time ever in history they're just in an airplane and she's like, what if I turn this invisible? Would that be sick?
Invisible?
And they're like, yeah, I
No,
guess,
Jackson,
sure.
she said in one throwaway line that her dad could do it, so of course she can do it.
Check this
Also,
out, my dad
hold
taught
on,
me how to
Wonder
do
Woman-
this.
Hey, Wonder Woman, we have never talked about your dad before. Who the fuck is your dad? What are you talking about? Why are you turning a plane invisible?
Yeah, it just all for your hey, my newly back from the dead boyfriend. Let's steal a fucking plane. Like what? Like there's just so why did they have to make it like that? Like why? And then also like why is she playing museum director woman? Like what? You could have settled on any job in the world, and you decided to just like, cause she could have outed herself at any time. Like she's this like ancient being basically, and here's just working at a fucking museum. That's like being like That's like speaking a second language and then taking a class in that second language and just showing up and be like, I already know all this shit. Like, it's just, I don't understand it. Like, there's so many things you could be doing.
What I thought they were gonna do with the jet is I thought they were gonna pull like an Incredibles, where like when like what's her name? What's the mom in Incredibles? What's her name?
Miss Elastigirl?
Helen Parr, where
Yeah,
she
Helen.
goes and she like calls her old army buddy and she's like, "Oh, we know that you were in the army. I hear you got planes. Can I have a plane?" And then she gets a plane, and you're like, "All right, she knew somebody from her past and she got a plane." And it's like, fine, whatever, moving on. You have this character who's existed for 70 years. If you just told me she has an old army buddy that owns a plane, I'd be like, great, I got it, let's go. But instead they have to steal a plane?
Yeah, like I am going to use my museum ID to somehow use those credentials to get into this air base, like steal this plane.
Steal a plane from the Smithsonian.
And like also keep in mind, like in Batman versus Superman, I think it's Batman versus Superman, when Bruce Wayne looks her up, this woman has been off the fucking grid.
Right.
Like there's been no sight of her since 1911. How is she doing all this outlandish shit and she hasn't been caught? What?
Right.
Like
and
no one like
it
just makes no sense.
It just also speaks to the fact that she has absolutely no inner life in this movie. Like, there is absolutely nothing different about her or her situation at the end of the last movie than there is at the beginning of this one. Yeah. Like you said, like, if you could be like, oh, I met somebody in the 30s who was a pilot and could give me access to a plane, that would be cool. It would give her some sort of, you know, context in the world. It would make her not be like she just fucking skipped over 70 years and just presumably was just like sitting around reading books that whole time. I don't know. Like what did she do? What did she do? They should
have done a Wolverine X-Men Origins like montage through every war in American history, but it's just her drinking wine at a table by herself.
Yeah, I would have loved that. I actually would have loved that. If like they just showed like Diana willingly sitting out, like if they explained her willingly sitting out, and like not to like completely jump trains here, but like let's talk about the first 15 minutes of the movie. What the fuck was that?
Oh my god, the movie literally starts with Diana being like, let me tell you the time when let me take 20 minutes to tell you the time when I was 7 and I entered the Olympics and I could have won because I'm so much stronger and cooler than everybody when I was 5 years old than all these warrior women are. Fuck them. I'm so much better than them. But I like and this is how I learned that you should tell the truth. And it's like fucking what?
Yeah.
But like first of all, that whole thing is dumb. Her lesbian mom has to tell her that being truthful is good. But she didn't lie or break the rules because first of all, you never told us the rules. She like got held back and like used a shortcut and then got back in front of everybody. And like that's not cheating. You just got around it like you messed up. Yeah, exactly. And they're like,
if anything, she should be praised for her creativity and her insightfulness to make the best out of a bad situation.
And there's been so much in like nerd culture. There's been so much conversation about female characters and how men will say that female characters are overpowered for literally no reason. Like I saw there was a TikTok of somebody breaking down. Like, because people would always say that Rey was overpowered because she got into the Millennium Falcon and just drove it like she always knew how to fly, and that was overpowered. But then they were looking at Anakin was 7 years old, and he said he knew how to drive a thing, and we trusted him. And Luke was 17, and he said he could drive a thing, and we trusted him.
And he got in a different kind of ship. It was like, now this is pod racing, and it wasn't pod
exactly.
racing.
And then Luke was like, I could drive a thing, and then we trusted that he knew how to drive the thing. And then Rey was like, I know how to drive the thing, and then she drove the thing. And we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But this is like the opposite of that. This makes no sense. Where she's 8 fucking years old, she's entering the Olympics that these other women have been training their entire lives for, and she just fucking wins it for no reason. Like, it's so unrealistic.
And also, like, we don't need to go back to the mascara. We know we've been there already. We don't care. Like, it just, like, for me, like, all the scenes in Thor Ragnarok when they go back to Asgard, it served a purpose because it was part of the plot. Ragnarok was
because something else was going on there.
Right. There was something that tied us to that. We didn't need to go back to the mascara. that was strictly just because the writers didn't know how the fuck else to tell us, hey, cheating is bad, don't do it, don't cheat.
You know that.
Yeah, like we, as far as am concerned, most people who watch the film are not dicks. Like that, they're old enough to understand right from wrong. Like
legally, they're 13 years old.
Yeah, legally they're 13 years old at least. Like it just and like it was just such a confusing, boring opening. Like it was.
Right.
I'm sorry, it wasn't even confusing. It was just boring. It was so lame. It was like, okay, cool, a bunch of women doing sports. Hooray.
But like, yeah,
8-year-old just fucking leaving them in the dust.
But I do want to push back a little bit because like it does serve a function. It does like set up the thematics of the movie for you as an audience member. It just does it in a stupendously inefficient way that like just wastes your time for so long. And then doesn't, like, one of the things that you learn about screenwriting is, like, scenes need to serve multiple functions. Like, if you're doing a good job, every scene should do multiple things. And the only thing that this, like, 20-minute, like, sports sequence sets up is just like, hey, this movie's gonna be kind of about, like, taking shortcuts and stuff. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you could have cut that down to, like, a minute and 30 seconds and we would have been fine.
Yeah. I just think you could have cut it out entirely. Like, I would love to see just like would love to. That's a little dramatic. I would appreciate an edited version where you just take that scene out. Just take that 15 minutes out. You shorten the runtime a little bit. The movie still makes sense. It's not like it doesn't make sense if you take that 15 minutes out. It doesn't do anything because fast forward to like later in the movie, she talks to Steve about that golden armor. We see that golden armor again. You know what I mean? Like we see it, I believe, in the first 15 minutes when like they're doing all their stunts and shit. And then we see it again when she's talking to Steve, where she's like, "Yeah, there was this very great fighter. She stood back and fought all the men. Like, good for her." Like that's there. You know what I mean? Like that serves its purpose. So what was the fucking point of the first? I just don't.
Yeah, and I can't. I absolutely cannot get over the fact that she has apparently had invincible winged armor this entire time. And then,
and she's just wearing a skirt instead.
Yeah,
and then she was like, oh my god, Kristen Wiig turned into a cheetah lady. Now is the time to bust out the seemingly. This is armor that was built to withstand the force of an entire Roman army all at once. And all it's gonna take to like tear the wings off this thing is Kristen Wiig with a tail. Like what's going on?
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you want to hear my pitch for how I would do the first 15 minutes of Wonder Woman instead?
Yes, please.
Yes, absolutely.
This is what I would do. I would have her maybe like in the 40s, the 30s, maybe still reeling from like Steve dying and kind of misremembering that moment of like when he was like, "You go save the world, I'll go save this moment," whatever he says. Because she's not weak. Like she's not weaker than anyone. Her like flaws come from like having emotions and like emotional intelligence that isn't always as far along as it should be, or like too naive or like too trusting or too easy to turn away from someone, like somewhere in between there. And that's her problem here. So if she's misremembering like Steve to the point where she's just remembering his loss and not his words, and then maybe is confronted and they're like, "Diana, will you come back? We need you." And she's like, "No, I'm done with war. I've lost too many people with war. I don't want to lose anyone again." And that's her whole, like, her arc is, I don't want to get involved because when I get involved, I lose people that I care about.
People get hurt.
Yeah. And like maybe the tension is her desire to see Steve again, to live with him or whatever, to be with him, is not as much as like the truth that was there. And the truth that he believed in is, you are great for this world and my life is not as important as all of the lives that you could be saving. And that's her misremembered truth. I think that would hit more the like tone and the theme that they were seeking after, but instead they were just like, I really want a boyfriend. But
yeah, where's
I
my man?
I had to fight Ares, which I guess we're not going to involve any other gods in a direct way.
Except for
in
one
this
that we're
movie.
kind of make up to be like,
well, sort
God
of reference,
alive.
but it doesn't ever appear.
Right.
yeah.
So, okay.
it's-
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of this sort of stems from the problem that I was saying before we got on mic. Like, Gal Gadot has a supremely specific, like, narrow, laser-focused persona, right? And it, just as an actor and as a movie star, you know? Like, she doesn't have a huge body of work, but it's basically, like, Wonder Woman and her role in the Fast and Furious movies, and when she was that character in Wreck-It Ralph 2. And, like, maybe there's some other stuff, but that's the only stuff that comes to mind. Like, and I want to push back a little bit on the idea that she just can't act, because I think, from my own experience of directing actors and trying to act on screen, charisma is stupendously difficult and a genuine talent, I think. I'm gonna steal a take from the Blank Check podcast, where one of those hosts, Griffin Newman. He says that Gal Gadot is like John Wayne. Like, she has one thing. She can be big and intimidating and kind of cold, but also just, like, beautiful and, like, immaculate looking. And that is her thing that she can do, and she is better at that than anybody on the planet today. And I think that has a value as a performer, you know, because that works great in Fast and Furious. That works great in the first Wonder Woman movie, I think. But this movie fundamentally requires a certain amount of ennui that I just don't think Gal Gadot has the range to pull off, you know? And I don't want to turn it into like, oh, Gal Gadot can't act, because I don't think that's necessarily true. I think this is just a certain type of performance that's outside of her skill set, like, entirely.
Like, the scenes where she is interacting with Chris Pine do, like, showcase that she has a lot of talent.
Right.
I think that those scenes are, like, the only scenes that make me feel anything. Like, when they said goodbye, I did cry. I cried.
Like,
okay?
she really sells that moment.
Like, it's
but
that's upsetting.
even that goodbye is so brief. It's such a brief
Yeah,
goodbye. Like,
absolutely,
it really
absolutely.
It happens so quickly. You're so overwhelmed by what's going on. There's people punching each other in the streets. They're just standing off in a corner somewhere, and she's just like, later, dog. And then it just it like cuts into her flying somehow. Just some surprise.
The scene where she like kisses him and then immediately turns away, and you can just hear him talking. She's just walking through the crowd, and she starts just like yelling and running. That's I think that shot is awesome, where she's just running straight towards the camera, just the chaos around her, and she's just like yelling. I think that part is so cool. And then it's immediately ruined by that weird long shot of her running with her superpowers, but it's the weird, bad special effects that this movie has. And then she just learns how to fly because she's sad.
Like 20 different versions of her doing flying poses.
Right, yeah.
Like, trying to find a comfortable spot to do a superhero flying pose.
Yeah.
Like,
there's just so many scenes that could have just been cut down.
Right.
The movie absolutely does not know how to budget the time. Like, it just, if time was money, it's just given everybody as much money as they want. Like, it's just, oh, you want to like talk about his son? Here's so much time to talk about his son. Oh, you want to talk about Kristen Wiig? Here's so much time to do that. She learns how to fly. Here's so much time. They get in a jet and they fly somewhere. Here's 20 entire minutes to do that. It's just they don't know how to budget time.
So
also, one moment, guys, I'm having technical difficulty with my GarageBand. It said system overload.
Whoa.
And I don't know what that means. And now the audio track is just looks very weird. So if you'll just give me one.
Yeah, go ahead. If you want to start and stop the recording again, just make a new audio file. I can splice them together and
cool.
Steal some audio from the stream if need be.
Let me just make sure it's working. Hold on one sec. One moment, guys. Did it?
And I want
Jason,
to
tell me this.
put my quarter on the arcade machine for the next thing
Yeah,
once we
but
start
even
again.
that- okay.
Jackson, if you had to drink one soda for the rest of your life,
Dr. Pepper.
it would
yeah,
be
it
Dr.
would
Pepper,
be Dr.
right?
Pepper.
Like, I think that's everybody's answer, Dr.
Yeah.
What is
Pepper.
That's not my answer.
What?
I just knew that was Jackson's answer.
What's your answer, Keisha?
Milkus.
I love
Milkus?
root
I would
beer.
drink Milkus.
Milkus is good. I love Milkus. That you also get different flavors. Would it have to be the melon one? Because the peach one's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Okay, I choose melon Milkus.
Soda and
All right,
milk
one
weirds
moment.
me out. I don't like cream soda. There's just like some inherent dissonance to the
cream
idea
soda's so good.
of like there's
Yeah,
milk
Jackson.
in this soda. Weirds me out. Not into it.
Cream soda, like that you'd buy in a can, like A&W, is just vanilla flavored soda, and it's good.
Well, right.
Not really.
I don't
We're
mean
a cream
that. I
soda
mean like
family.
a true cream soda where somebody pours half and half in it in front of you.
What about like a root beer float?
Well,
You
what
don't
about, like,
a
an
root beer
root beer
Italian
floats are
soda?
so good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ah, Jackson.
Jackson, I think you're just lying
Yeah.
to yourself.
I don't know. I truly don't know.
Calpico, yes, Cade. Calpico's so good.
Okay, are we good, Meg?
Fermented.
Yes, I'm just exporting this audio because it was fine. We saved it.
No problem. No
Hooray.
problem.
This is gonna
I'm
be
just
a fun
exporting it now.
Frankenstein episode.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's all
Yeah,
good.
this is-
The
I swear I
Penny
feel like
Dreadful.
I do this to everyone. Yeah, this is the Penny Dreadful episode. Oh, I love that. I really could spend an entire couple hours talking about Penny Dreadful if like I'm not reeled in. Like it can happen.
But like I feel like I'm kind of
Um,
lukewarm on root beer floats too. Like I don't
Maybe
hate
it's because you're drinking lukewarm root beer floats.
could be.
It's
I don't
not
because
their
I don't
intent.
hate root beer floats, but I would never be like, oh, I'm gonna make a root beer float for myself. I'll treat myself. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to do that. I don't know.
Well,
I think
I'm
you live a
sorry
sad
for
little
you.
Life,
I don't
Jackson.
think milk should be carbonated. I'm gonna put my foot down.
whoa.
Well, then you're not invited to our Milkus party.
Okay, I don't want to. It sounds too much like
Yeah, we've
mucus.
had several Milkus parties with
We have. You were there and you were not invited.
Maybe
okay.
melon Milkus just isn't the one for you. We can try out different
See,
ones.
Like, can you not
Okay,
hear
but
it
how
as
do
it
you
comes
feel
out
about
of your
milk
mouth that
too?
the phrase melon milkus just
Yeah.
sounds really horrible?
No, I think it's great.
We'll have a Milkus
There's
taste
a
test video.
There's one that's just yogurt flavored, Jackson. That one would be really
No.
challenging.
That
for
sounds
you.
like the worst
no.
thing in the world, Keisha.
It's yummy. It's good. It's good. The Asians love yogurt. I don't know what to tell you.
Yogurt. Delicious yogurt.
Milkus.
We have so many
Think-
variations.
In my mind, I'm always like, ooh, yogurt. Yogurt sounds so good. I can get like strawberry and blueberry yogurt or like vanilla yogurt. I'm always like, oh, that sounds so good. And then I eat it and it just tastes like yogurt and I'm always disappointed.
Yeah,
I
I
love yogurt.
have IBS, so I cannot eat yogurt.
Ugh.
It will kill me.
That
That
It
will
will
is
do it.
actually kill me.
Terrible life. No, that's probably fine. Yogurt's
Yeah.
not that important.
Yeah, yogurt.
Yeah,
I could go my whole life without eating yogurt.
I will die on this yogurt hill.
I'm happy
I
to
mean,
have
like-
yogurt, but I wouldn't die if it were taken away from me.
I like frozen yogurt.
Mm.
Frozen yogurt's
Frozen yogurt's
delicious.
super good.
How about
Super
frozen
good.
yogurt in a root beer?
God. I just
Ooh,
had one
I-
of those like moments where the weight of the pandemic crashed down on me so hard when I realized that I definitely haven't had frozen yogurt in like God, at least a full calendar year.
No.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
How whack is that?
Yeah.
I have had frozen yogurt in the past 6 months.
Oh no, Keisha, what'd you
Ooh.
do?
I took a student out to get frozen yogurt and we sat at the park and ate it.
Oh, okay.
Aw, that's sweet.
Outdoor.
I know, very
outdoor.
very exciting, very scary.
See, I had the thought the other day because every once a year I just get like overwhelmed with the sense of God, I want to go to Disneyland so bad, and that happened. Not to be the person complaining about not getting to do things during COVID, but
Right.
we usually do it like every other year, and our family planned to go to Disneyland in 2020, and then COVID happened and we didn't do that. So that sense of like, God, fuck, I want to go to Disneyland has just been steadily increasing the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
time we've been in like lockdown or whatever, and it's just like, oh god, I want to go to Disney fucking bad. Not enough to go there and die and or kill other people, but man, I want to go to Disneyland.
You just like wake up in the middle of the night drooling, thinking about churros.
About-
No, it's just like the
It's the Mickey
smell
bars,
from
smell of
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love a Mickey bar.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
will
man.
spend a lot of money on a Mickey bar.
Mickey bars are so good. I'm actually going to Disney World in April. The end of
Ooh.
April. I'm really excited. I know
Fingers
it's not
crossed.
like the most advised thing to do in the middle of a pandemic, but
They're definitely getting better. They're like
yeah,
at the beginning of the
precautions are
pandemic, I
taken.
would have been like, no, absolutely the fuck not. But like now, there's a lot more masks and a lot more cleaning. I'm like, I feel like it's a little bit safer, but you know, if you can avoid it, don't. I'm not saying go to Disneyland, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
well,
But
who
I
knows
know
what
I've
we're
never
gonna look
been a
like in
big, like,
April.
I've never been like a big foodie when it comes to Disneyland. Like
Yeah,
when my
no.
family goes to Disneyland, we don't really like get food
food.
because it's
Yeah.
expensive. We go to the McDonald's outside of Disneyland.
Oh, see, the
That
McDonald's
works.
outside of Disney World is like premium McDonald's. It's like very expensive McDonald's.
Is
Cursed.
it like
You
that
wouldn't-
three-story McDonald's? And they're like, ooh, we have spinach wraps. Ew.
No, it's like nestled right next to Animal Kingdom. It's like very hard to find if you're not looking for it.
Huh.
And it's just like weirdly expensive.
Weird.
Oh, my garage band is finally working again,
Oh,
guys.
okay,
I'm
perfect.
going to hit. Should I hit record?
Go for it.
Okay, cool.
I was just gonna say that my original point was that we can still go to zoos because they're mainly outside and you can socially
Yeah.
distance. But you shouldn't because all the gorillas in San Diego got COVID
getting
and I'm gonna
COVID.
cry talking about it.
Okay.
Those poor gorillas.
Those poor gorillas.
Okay. Back into Wonder Woman.
Yes.
We've done some talking about like the messaging of this movie and like whether it's like, oh, you
Yes.
should do things the right way and not take shortcuts, or like you should just be complacent and not worry about it. And I think the moment where that gets so muddied in this movie is like, it's very clear that they're setting up this like monkey's paw thing, right? Where they're like,
Right.
oh, I wished for this, but
Say it.
but there was an equal and opposite reaction, and this happened instead that made it turn out to be a bad idea. You know, that whole sort of thing, right? And then when he gets on TV and is like, everybody gets wishes, all they show is people being like, I wish all Irish people would get fucked and die. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
hold on, how's that a monkey's paw? I don't know what the what the push and pull
Yeah,
of that
yeah.
is. Like,
Yeah. What's that one where he's like that to the one where he's like, I wish you would drop dead. Like,
yeah. And it
What?
it paints this thing of like, oh, and if you give people what they want, they're just gonna, it's, I mean, I go back and forth about whether or not it's fair to like extrapolate to this level, but it's almost like if you give poor people money, they'll just spend it on dumb shit and won't help themselves. Like that sort of idea, And like,
Yeah.
it,
Because it seems like it was very possible for them to go the route of like Diana stakes her claim that all human beings are good no matter the circumstances and they deserve to be saved. Like you could challenge that by being like, hey, look at all of these people and they're wishing for things that are selfish.
right.
Is it still worth
Yeah.
saving them? Which I think is a good way to challenge her character from the last movie.
Right.
Mm.
And like, okay, let's just, it's bound to happen eventually. Let's just dig into it. Let's just stare into the void. We gotta talk about the
Screaming in a bucket.
complete lack of rules regarding all the wishing stone bullshit. Because if it's so,
Yeah.
that is like, I think fundamentally
Well, I
outside of any like thematic ideas, outside of any like disappointing plot setups, like just practically in the nuts and bolts of this thing, that is the most atrocious thing about this movie, is that they can't be bothered to
I don't
set up or
even-
stick to any rules ever.
Right, and I think like the glaring flaw in a lot of superhero movies have this problem of the too many villains thing,
Right.
and I
They
think
spy
that
band.
yes, and I think that having the Wish Man, Mr. Wishes,
Right.
it's such an abstract fucking concept that you just can't use with Wonder Woman. You could use that with like Batman. I
Right.
absolutely think you could use a wishing thing with Bruce Wayne because he's tortured enough and jaded enough where he could be like, yeah, humans like are inherently gonna wish for stupid shit.
Right.
Like that's absolutely a Bruce Wayne thing to say. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I wouldn't be shocked if Bruce Wayne was like, people wish for dumb shit. Like
Yeah, Bruce Wayne's like, I would wish for my parents to be alive, but who knows what other people would wish for.
Yeah, and I know Bruce would know the weight of that decision. Where I
Right.
think like with Wonder Woman, she's not capable of that. It's just have her fight a big bad. That makes sense. You know what I mean? I just don't think that Wonder Woman has the depth for that. And this, again, this could be my lack of understanding of the character. I haven't read the comics. You know what I mean? Like I was, always had the wrong belief that Superman was very boring because he's always fought big bads and he's never had that like real character piece moment. And it turns out Superman's actually like really fucking cool and has like a very interesting personality. It just depends on who he's fighting, and it depends on what his stakes are. I think every hero has their strengths, and I don't think that with Wonder Woman to go with such an abstract concept like that, it worked out for her because it just didn't make any sense. It just felt really, the stakes were so low. Like it just didn't feel exciting at all. And like Cheetah is a cool enemy. Like she's got a cool character design. Why not just like, make the whole story? You could have had a whole movie, half of it being like, Kristen Wiig's character leading up to her becoming Cheetah, and then the other half of the movie being them beefing. You know what I mean?
I think that film is called Batman Returns.
Well,
actually.
yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think that we already have that.
Is that this movie wants to be Batman Returns so bad. It's like...
It's literally the exact fucking character. If you just took her, put her, it's the exact fucking character.
Well, but not only that, but it's like a superhero who doesn't appear to have any personality outside of fighting crimes and sitting in chairs. There's like just this like pathetic weirdo of a guy who is like fighting for
he's
sort
like
of
rich and
concrete
white
power. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the mousy dorky woman who gets wronged by somebody and turns into a sexy maniac. And like and the thing that's cool about Batman Returns is that all three of those characters exist on equal footing in the movie.
Yeah, they're compelling.
Yeah,
they're compelling. They are interesting to watch. Yeah.
Right. They're given like equal time as like three prongs of like one story. And this movie really feels like it's trying to do that, but like every time we're like spending a lot of time on these villains, on these two other characters, they're trying to set up this weird trifecta, they don't feel like they're playing off of each other in interesting enough ways. Like Batman Returns turns into this crazy like psychosexual revenge drama between these three people, but in Wonder Woman 1984 they barely interact with each other until the end.
They don't really know each
interact
other
with each
for the last
other.
like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Diana spent like a lunch. I don't even know what Cheetah's first name is because I don't care. It's like I don't even remember. Yeah, it's just Kristen Wiig. And like the thing is, like none of them have chemistry with each other. Like none of them have chemistry. Oh, that's a lie. Kristen Wiig has chemistry with Gal Gadot. I absolutely believe that Kristen Wiig is horny for Gal Gadot. That does not.
That whole scene where they're like getting lunch is definitely played like a romantic scene.
Yeah,
I don't know
which means that they're cowards. Those cowards.
Yeah, we were robbed. We were robbed of the best gay superhero movie we could have ever had. But
well, except for all the other parts that suck ass. But
right. And also I don't think that Mr. Wishes and Cheetah were evil. First of all, when Cheetah kicks the shit out of that rapist guy, hell yeah, girl, do your thing, kill that man. First of all, there's only one rapist in all of Washington D.C. What? Yeah. Like, it's the same fucking guy? Like, are you joking? Like, I literally laughed out loud. Like, I was just like, it's the same man. It's the same man. They're in Washington D.C. There's so many things you could have done to like make this, the stakes of the city being dangerous and like, for a woman like Kristen Wiig's character who can't really hold her own. Fine. But like she rightfully so jumped the guy that jumped her. I don't see anything wrong with that. There was nothing in that scene that spoke to me. Oh yeah, this is a woman that shouldn't be doing what she's doing or shouldn't have the power that she has.
Time during the movie it takes a while for like both of the villains. It takes a while for them really to get to the point when they're like, oh, they're the villain and they're doing something wrong. Because at the very beginning, Mr. Wishes,
Right.
he's introduced as like 80s oil baron guy. So you're like, oh, he's gonna be one-dimensional and evil.
Well, I mean,
but
he's
then you
heading
like
up a
they,
Ponzi scheme.
they what?
So he's like heading up a Ponzi scheme.
Well, but they make what I'm saying is
But he
that they
has a
make
son.
him. They give the one thing that the one thing that I'm glad that they budgeted time for was establishing him and giving him more pathos. Because I think that scene where
Right.
you see his huge building and he like walks through the doors of this like huge reception area and then walks into the back and it's just fucking empty and there's nobody in there and everything is like a jumbled mess. I think that's like just immediately so telling of his character. And then you have his son. Like, I'm so glad that they spent that time because it immediately gave him pathos and made him more than one-dimensional. And then, like, he's like,
Right.
obviously he's trying to get the wishing stone and he's using the wishing stone. But, like, I don't know, obviously there's levels of it being wrong of him just wishing for his business to be successful. But then all the other shit happens. But, like, before all the other shit happens, like, he wasn't, like, a super villain. He was just a guy who was, like, doing the easy way and, like, doing things the wrong way, but like not in an evil
Right.
way yet. And the whole thing with Kristen Wiig is that she's like, I want to be like Diana, and for some reason being like Diana means getting male attention, which is kind of fucked up, but that's whatever.
Well, I think it's also
Yeah.
like I think it was supposed to be a showcase of like vanity and how like we want the things that seem good, like we want to be like super famous. Like there's that woman who's Chinese and is like, I wish I was famous. And then
Yeah.
people are just like banging on the windows.
Right.
But like being beautiful, being rich and powerful, like those are things that people want and wish for, but
Right.
like they're not what matters in the world, and they can lead to like a really destructive behavior. But it's weird that they were like, let's show how being beautiful means being able to walk in high heels. Like they really hammered
Yeah.
home. They were like, good thing you can walk in those heels, Barbara.
Yeah,
Well,
this
okay.
movie directed by a woman felt very much like it was directed by a man from 1984. The only part of 1984 that still existed was the sexism, which was very much there.
I mean, it was very like cheeky in a way that's like, it's so hard to be a woman in corporate America because you are so undervalued, which is true.
Yeah.
But when you do it in such like a ham-fisted way, it makes me hate it. And I
Right.
don't
Like
want
when she
to
goes in
hate it.
there
I
and
wanted
none
to
of the
like it
guys
so
know her
bad.
name until she wears a short skirt, and they're like, "Whoa, Barbara, your butt is smoking." It's like, okay, this
Yeah,
is
it was just to the extreme. It's the same way I felt about Joker. Like it was just so aggressive, and like we got it. We as the audience have got your point. We understand. You do not need to go any further. Like in Joker, when he got the shit kicked out of him for like the 4th time by those dudes singing Sondheim off
Yeah.
book. Jesus Christ. I was like, I get it. Gotham is a scary place. I am not stupid. I understand that. As the audience, I have understood that. Can we move on? Like, I just don't like when directors insult my intelligence and think that I, as an audience member, need to be like spoon-fed this
Right.
concept. And like,
like as
Yeah.
a woman, I don't need to be told about sexism, but do we need to spoon feed the male audience what sexism is like? Because I hope not. I hope that's not why they did that. You
Yeah.
know, like
yeah.
it's just when she
But
like
the
the thing with the
cheapest
high
ways.
heels is that's one of the things that she admires about Diana is like how she from her point of view, Wonder Woman fits into that like perfect businesswoman in the high heels even when she struggles with that.
Right.
And so I kind of got that scene of her like being able to walk into heels was like her being able to like be powerful and feminine the way that Wonder Woman is. And the flaws of that and the way that society treats high heels as a symbol of women's power when they're really not is a whole other conversation. But like that's why they did that.
Yeah.
But like the whole thing with because like that scene they portrayed as her being evil when she beats up the guy that Cat calls her. But the first scene is Diana beating up the guy that Cat calls her. And of
Right,
course not to the
exactly.
same
She throws him into
Well,
the trash can.
But those
not to
scenes
the
are
same
different.
extreme
She's
level,
like
but, like-
brutalizing that guy the second time. It's not the same
yeah,
thing.
that's the point is that she's brutalizing him and that's not the okay part. And she's weirdly got that like that homeless man who's like her puppy, who she's like
Yeah,
friends
like-
with, and then he's like,
just
Pet
virtue
homeless man.
signaling.
That
yeah,
guy's my
literally
favorite
that's
character.
all that
Because
he
she brought
exists
a
for,
homeless
is to
man
show that she's a
leftovers.
good person.
Yeah.
Which is just a whole other thing.
Okay.
It's just sloppy. It's weird that they do it. I feel like they do it in an ineffective way. They're either ham-fisting it or like villainizing people when I don't think they should be villainized. Because like the whole thing is that she loses her humanity in order to be feminine and successful and feminine, and that's fucking shitty. I don't know. Whatever way they did it poorly.
Right.
It's
Chris
bad.
Wigg's character is kind of like if they combined Electro and like the Goblin Jr. in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like,
Oh, God,
like
I
her
haven't
character
seen
arc
that
is
movie,
very much
so-
just Electro's, like nerdy, encounters the hero. I want to be just like them. Magic happens via eels and or stone.
Yeah, except that movie's
And then-
good, so
Yeah.
find me.
Okay, but I'm just saying, don't you think that their character arcs are like
Yeah.
the same exact thing? And
Well-
then she turns into a weird mutated monster
Right.
at the end.
I do agree. I just wanted to stand up for the fact that I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 is good and everybody
I
can
know.
find me.
I'm not
Good.
I-
calling out. I'm
can
just
I-
saying it's the same, but it's not as
Yeah.
good
Uh,
because I'm not scared
Can
of
I just
Kristen
say
Wiig.
that, like, speaking of Kristen Wiig, and this is gonna sound kind of mean, and I said this yesterday, and I felt kind of bad after saying it, but I just don't think Kristen Wiig is sexy enough to play Cheetah. I just don't. And not that Kristen Wiig isn't a beautiful woman. I think she's a very attractive lady. I just don't think she has the chutzpah to play a villain. There are some actors that are so naturally good at playing the villain, and they're not necessarily conventionally attractive. Like Tom Hiddleston plays Loki like a glove. Like that man was born to play Loki. He's so good at it. He oozes the character. He is the character. Like there's no doubt in your mind when you look at Tom Hiddleston and go, yeah, that's Loki. That's Loki. Like it's just so natural for him. There was nothing natural about Kristen Wiig's performance. Like I just felt like the whole nerdy thing was like fine, and that was fine. But then when she slowly became Cheetah, I couldn't take her seriously. When she's in those ridiculous outfits, I was like, dog, who dressed you?
Costuming is
Who dressed you?
ridiculous.
The
Like it wasn't
costuming
even like 80s fashion. It was like 80s hooker fashion.
No.
Like I don't know.
Yeah,
what
it
was up
wasn't
with that.
80s fashion at all. Like it was so distracting, and there was like again like I just couldn't believe Kristen Wiig as a villain. There was no part of me in my body that said, "Yep, that's a bad guy." Like at any point. Like the thing is, like with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, like she starts off pretty dowdy and weird when she's just like herself, you know, when she's like nerdy in the beginning. Like she is like, you know, you feel for her, you're like, okay, yeah, this woman is like kind of a mess. And when she becomes Catwoman, she's so cool. You know, she's like
Right.
this
Mhm.
extremely sexy, dangerous woman.
Because
And
she's
not
like liberated
not that-
from her
Yeah.
previous life.
And it's very clear that she has made this transition. It's very clear. Like there is no doubt that she is a different woman. There was no point where I felt like there was that transition
Right.
with Kristen Wiig's character. The acting just it wasn't
Not a new thing for audiences of superhero movies to see like nerdy character literally the next day, strong, no need for glasses, confident, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Like we've seen it 1,000 times by now. It's not like
it's so
we needed to warm
overplayed.
up to it.
We've
Yeah,
all
it's
seen
so
Megamind. We
overplayed.
know.
Yeah. I would rather watch Megamind 80 times than watch one.
That's because Megamind is great.
1984
And what's fun is that you
Megamind
probably
is
could watch
phenomenal.
Megamind about 80 times within the runtime of Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Insane.
Yeah, and you could have seen like this is how many times you could watch Megamind. All this time you watch Wonder Woman. Yeah, there was nothing new about this movie. There was nothing exciting. Like what I will say, and I will compare this to the superhero movie I personally hate the most, and like felt very annoyed when I left the theater, much like I felt when I watched Wonder Woman 1984, is Captain America: Civil War. I despise that movie. I have my reasons for hating it. I just like I won't get into it because that's like that could be a whole other podcast. But the thing that at least with Captain America: Civil War, there are interesting characters in it. There are
Right.
characters I gave a shit about. There is not a single character in Wonder Woman 1984 that I gave a shit about. Not a
Right.
single one. I didn't care about Mr. Wishes. I did not care about Stave. I did not care about Kristen Wiig, Barbara, Cheetah Woman. I didn't care about Diana. I don't care about these characters. At no point did the direction of this film say to me, hey, these are characters that you should care about. Like,
Right.
it never came across to me that way. And I liked Wonder Woman. I liked the first film. I enjoyed it. I had a great time watching that in theaters. I had fun. Sure, the third act is a disaster. The third act of Wonder Woman is so bad. I mean, I was crying laughing in the theater when they cut to Ares in like Grecian times
With
and he
his
still has
mustache.
that ridiculous
He's
British
like
mustache.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We could do a whole other
I
podcast
just-
about Wonder Woman because that's a movie I have a lot of feelings
Yeah.
about too. But
It's
especially
so-
now that
yeah,
I've watched 1984, like I had kind of mixed feelings about Wonder Woman at first, but now I'm like, maybe that was awesome. Maybe I need to go back and reevaluate Wonder Woman. It feels so
maybe
much
it's
better
not
in
as
my
good
memory
as I
now.
thought. Yeah. Like, I mean, the set pieces in Wonder Woman were like where she runs into no man's land was such like an exhilarating scene. It was really fun to watch, like with the theme coming in and it's just like hype as hell and you're like, yeah, this is Wonder Woman. This is the character she could be. I'm not familiar with Patty Jenkins' other work, so I can't speak to that, but I just feel like she thinks her audience is full of fucking idiots. Like, just the way it was directed. Like, I feel like as the audience, like, this movie was like, hey, you big dumb idiot, want to see a movie that is about Wonder Woman and it's exciting? And like, I don't know, like, I just felt like this movie was telling me things and I wasn't getting anything from it.
Right. Can I jump in? I've got a slightly different point that I've been holding on to for just a second. I just want to warn you if I'm kind of jumping tracks a little bit. But one of the things about this movie that drives me crazy is the way they handle the trope of the monkey's paw, because like the idea should be that you wish for something, but in receiving it, there's an unintended consequence, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wish for $1 million, but the way you get it is your grandpa dies and you inherit $1 million from him and you loved your grandpa. Oh no.
Right.
But this movie seems to just posit that you wish for something and then unrelated something bad happens. You get your boyfriend back, but also you lose your superpowers. Yeah, like completely, like there's sort of an equal and opposite thing going on, but it's completely unrelated, right? And it would be like if in the story,
talk about how her,
you would, like if you were reading the story The Monkey's Paw and they were like, oh, I wish my dead son came back to life, and then he did and he was fine and you were all happy and it turned out great, but then your house burned down because it got struck by lightning. You know, it's not poetic. There's nothing like meaningful about that, I feel like. And I feel like one of the ways that this movie, not only is that a weird idea, and it's especially weird where it's like, is he the one who's deciding what people get taken away from them when they wish, when he becomes the wishing stone later? There's a part of me deep down that wants to go off on the logic of all the wishing stuff so bad.
Like, that's why he's like, whenever he's doing it, he's like, oh, Mr. President, also Ronald Reagan. I have a lot of thoughts on Ronald Reagan, but he's like, don't you wish that you had more nukes? And Ronald Reagan's like, yeah, I do. And he's like, okay, then I'm taking the presidency.
Right, yeah. And like,
like that.
And I feel like one of the ways that this movie like fundamentally fucks up its whole shit is that they're so into like the concrete ideas of like, you wish for this, but then this happens or this gets taken away from you. There's such a literalist idea to this like give and take. But the only person who seems to be exempt from that is Kristen Wiig. For some reason, she wishes to be just like Wonder Woman, so she ends up being graceful and beautiful and people like her. But I guess the trade-off is that she's slowly becoming evil, maybe, or
she,
I don't know what the monkey's paw is
yeah.
of her wish.
Her monkey's paw was that she becomes a fucking sociopath. But like when you become a sociopath, you don't know that.
Right.
You're cool with that because you don't have feelings anymore. So why would you
Yeah,
care?
that-
Like, yeah, and like, my
she
biggest
does.
question.
She
Yeah,
does
like,
say
and my
like
big-
you lost your humanity and your empathy and the things that make you kind. And she's like, well, that
Make you
doesn't
more
matter
like
because I
you.
want to be cool like you, Diana. And then she
Yeah.
does finger guns at the camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pitch. Okay, I had a brainwave. This is why this movie's good, actually. Actually, good movie. 8 out of 10. New Heart Stance. Okay.
Okay. Oh boy.
I will die on this hill.
Kristen Wiig. Okay, she wishes to be like Diana, but
Right.
what she's wishing, she's idolizing the wrong parts of Diana, right? She says, oh, I wish I was beautiful, I wish I was charming, I wish people liked me. But that's not what makes Diana special. What makes Diana special is her heart and her willingness to save Egyptian kids from a truck. And that is why when Kristen Wiig starts to become beautiful, she starts to lose the things that she didn't value as much as she should have before. That's why it's a good movie.
Paw wishes work usually.
Seal of approval. Another thing
Yeah.
regarding this is there is a very particular idea in this movie that I think is a beautiful, great idea, which is that like it's in a way sort of positing 80s American culture as like the wish on the monkey's paw that led us to where we are today, right? It's like thematically setting this movie in the 80s. It's like setting up this idea that like Americans were like, oh, I wish I could have Steven Spielberg and Rubik's Cube. And they're like, oh, great, you can have that. You can have as much of that as you want. But just a heads up, climate change. Like
80s Americana is definitely like the poster child of like consumeristic behaviors that are toxic.
Right.
Which is one of those like George Lucas prequel things where it's like if you're really thinking about it and really breaking it down, you can say like, oh, this is kind of about this and just saying this about this. But it's like not directly addressed in the text of the movie, you know?
Which
it's
is
like,
bad storytelling. That's
yeah,
just bad storytelling.
It's like a nebulous sort of
plain and
idea that
simple.
exists,
Yeah.
but like not quite fully addressed.
Yeah. And I also like one of the biggest things with the monkey's paw thing is like Steve is just hijacking some man's body and
Right.
they don't really talk about it.
That guy's
Like,
just dead for
Diana-
the week that Steve
yeah,
is
that-
in it.
Yeah, that man is no
No,
longer
he
there,
comes
and
back
that-
at the end of the movie. Like
No, but
Right,
while
yeah,
Steve
like,
is in his
at the end of
body,
the
he's just
movie.
fucking dead.
Yeah, but while Steve's in his body, and Diana's kind of just like, I got my man back. I don't give a fuck. And it's like, okay, I thought you're supposed to care about like all lives that are precious to you, and this random man is now gone because you wanted your boyfriend back super bad.
But
like,
she does learn. That's her arc. It's a bad one, but it's there.
God,
bad.
just, like,
I get that
It just-
like the scene where she doesn't recognize him at first is compelling, but also like why did the wish do that? Why didn't he just come back in his own body?
That-
See,
Right,
and
that?
that's
That
what
would
should be the monkey's paw. Like,
Right,
oh,
but
you
what are
get
the
your
wish
boyfriend
rules?
back,
There's-
but he's taking the place of some other person that you have to reckon with,
Right.
like the death of some other person. Not you're losing your powers for some reason.
Right. It's
Yeah.
just, it's so, there's no rhyme or reason to anything. There's
Yeah.
no rhyme or reason to anything. And like, goes back to my original point that this was just too abstract of a concept for Wonder Woman. I think there are superheroes that could probably make it work, but I just think having Mr. Wishes be the bad guy was such a bad idea. I think like there's so many other, like, I'm sure Wonder Woman has a decent rogues gallery. I am sure there are some characters in there that are really compelling and really interesting. I mean, that's why like I get frustrated with Batman, and it always just goes back to the fucking murder clowns all the time because there are so many good villains that Batman has. Batman's got Scarecrow, he has Mad Hatter, he's got Calendar Man, for Christ's sake. Even Calendar Man's pretty fucking like, I get really tired when like comic book movies rely on like one particular villain that superhero has, because I think that like when you pick any other villain, like you could pick any villain and make them interesting, and I think making Mr. Wish as a villain, I don't know if he's a DC character, not. I don't know if he was made
Yeah,
up for the
he is.
movie.
He's sort of a he was.
But
What's
he's not a
interesting is he
wish
was kind of
granter.
an '80s
Yeah,
invention.
yeah.
I think that I think that they are like Wonder Woman has a lot of problems, but I think particularly it's one of those pyramid triangle. Like you can pick two corners, but you can't have all three. Like they either needed to like change it. Truth doesn't resolve wishing. Like have wishes be solved by something else that matters to Diana, or like have Max Lord in some other role that makes more sense to his character, which is like greed, like corporate greed. Like there's just something like there's something like they can't have everything. Like they just tried to fit too many things that didn't always fit together. They cut up puzzle pieces and ruined the puzzle.
What weirds me out the most about her losing her powers for no reason is that I feel like they don't play in that space like at all. Because first of all, she doesn't have her powers, and she still absolutely has her powers. She's still pushing tanks over and flying through the
she's
sky
still
and using her
kicking
powers.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah, she never actually
Yeah, the
uses her
Edward
powers.
Cullen
They
scene where
just
there's
tell you
two
that
cars.
she is. But then they never like play around with the idea of like, Diana, you could have a totally normal life with your boyfriend. Like they talk about like her being
Like
able
in
to like
Spider-Man
keep her
2,
boyfriend, but they never
raindrops
like
keep
set
falling on
up
my
the
head.
choice of like, hey, all the people you've been saving and you love everybody and being able to save everybody and giving yourself
Yeah.
all the time. You could let that go and just be a normal, totally normal person with your boyfriend. Like that choice is like never set up. Like they set up like the pieces of it, but never like actually be like, hey.
Right, this is a thing.
This is a conflict that you could be having.
And like the losing the powers trope is always really interesting. It's always like it's a common trope. Like, I mean, there are so many movies that do it and like do it right. Like in Kiki's Delivery Service, when she loses her powers, she's just like really distraught, and it's this really thoughtful moment about like what makes you special.
Right.
And like it's how can Kiki's Delivery Service, a movie made for children, do it right and Wonder Woman can't? You know what I mean? Like, not to say that Kiki's Delivery Service isn't like a beautiful masterpiece.
Yeah.
But like there are so many movies where a hero loses their power. Hercules, fucking Hercules. In Hercules, he loses his powers and he's still able to figure it out. And that's like 5 minutes of the movie where he loses his powers. You know what I mean? Like
maybe what this movie is trying to say, like that strength doesn't make a hero, but truth and honesty and integrity do.
Right.
Even Wonder Woman, that's like, because that's what I was talking about. The comic books I read as a kid, that was like the whole point of it, was that she loses her powers and then still continues to fight crime, and she just does it a different way. Like, that's kind of baked into the character of Wonder Woman, that she could totally lose her powers and she would still have the same heart of gold and still be trying just as hard to do good. Like, that's a staple of her character. And then they just, A, they don't take away her powers at all, actually. And B, they just don't do that. They don't do it well because it's a weird monkey's paw thing that doesn't make any sense. And she's still flying through the air and punching tanks and fighting Kristen Wiig. Like it's just bad. It's bad. It's bad.
They were trying to find a way that she would need to rescind her wish, but it should have just been like, if you don't do this, it's not that you're not going to get your powers back. It's that like we can't beat the villain unless you make this sacrifice. Like that's the whole point. It's not that, oh no, you can't run fast now and do the moves, which doesn't like the way they set it up too. Like it just seemed like her getting hurt is part of the stakes. Like if that scene in the first movie where she's walking through no man's land, we were like, she actually can't ever get hurt and nothing will kill her. So I don't know why she cares so much about her wristbands. But like that's just the point of being a superhero, is that you could get hurt potentially. It should have just been, this is the right thing to do, and it sucks for you because this relationship matters to you, but it's more important that you save people.
I feel like, I don't know. The part of this movie that made me feel like I was taking crazy pills was like at a certain point, the line of rhetoric of "I renounce my wish" started to get bandied around. And there's no moment where they're like, oh, here's part of the rules, you can renounce your wish. And apparently just reverse any and all consequences of your wish. Which is like, hey, if you could do that in the classic short story, The Monkey's Paw, there would not be a short story, first of all. But
Right. Well,
Be
they
the shortest
kinda,
story and that it would not
they-
exist.
Yeah, they kind of say that you can give up your wishes. Like when they're reading the Mayan book, they're like, yeah, my people had two options: either give up their wishes or destroy it, and they couldn't do either, so they buried
Like
it.
how
right,
they
and that's why
blamed the Mayan genocide on the Mayans.
yeah,
which
that's
is
why the
cool.
Mayans disappeared. No other
And that's how the
reason.
Mayans fucking died. Like, yeah.
But and
They're
like,
like,
there's this
you
point
can
in the movie
actually-
where like she's telling everybody to renounce their wishes, and there's everybody just going around being like, I renounce my wish, like they're Michael Scott yelling, I declare bankruptcy, like just
And
saying this
also,
thing,
how
and it
convincing
apparently
this
holds this
woman.
magic weight. It's what is that?
yeah, and then like everyone is just listening to the magic woman on TV, and everybody's just oops, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, that's fine. Let's just do what she says. Like,
I
what?
would- yeah.
It's supposed to be because he's telegraphing, touching the waves or whatever
Touching the particles.
phraseology. Yeah,
Yeah.
touching the particles. It's like Interstellar. But she's using the lasso of truth to show everyone the truth. So they know in their hearts that the right thing to do is take back their wish.
Super lazy,
Da,
but
da,
it's fine.
da.
Hate
Well,
that.
which, yes,
Hate that
lazy
so
writing.
much.
It's the same lazy writing that was in the third act of the last movie. But I could
Yeah.
look past it because I really loved all the other parts of the movie and the way that
Right,
they.
and it was the third act, and it wasn't like it was the entire film.
Yeah,
like-
and like
yeah.
I love that Diana, especially with the whole argument that like superpowered women are too powerful and they're too good at everything. Because I think a lot of times people will be so afraid to write a weak female character that they will.
Right.
They won't even include any flaws. And Diana isn't flawless.
Right.
She's definitely the strongest, but she struggles to see that when people make mistakes, there's still people that deserve life.
Mhm.
And that is just devoid here. It's just like the only thing that Diana has a problem with is she wants a boyfriend.
Yeah.
The end.
I want,
then
I
once
want my
he's
man
gone,
back.
The
once
part
he's
of
gone,
this
it's just like,
film-
I'm good.
The part of this film that made me feel like I was taking crazy pills is that where we establish when he is the wishing stone, he chooses what he takes as the monkey's paw, which is bullshit, but they say that and he does that for the rest of the movie. So when he teams up with Catra, she's like, he can give her stuff, because she's already had her hot wish, so she doesn't get any more hot wishes. But he can
Yeah.
give her stuff. But how?
Yeah,
he
he's
has
a
to take
wish
some-
sugar daddy.
He has to take something from somebody else and gives it to other people. So he'll like take power or jobs or situations or even health or whatever, and he gives it to other people.
Yeah.
How the fuck does he turn her into a cat? How the fuck did a cat make a wish and then he took the cat's skin and gave it to her? How the fuck did she turn
Well-
into an actual literal cat person?
It
They
was
just do
my
that
underst-
really
Yeah.
lazy thing where he's like, oh, I'm on TV and I'll take your health and I'll take your power and I'll take your strength. And then he's like, and give her your angst and give her your cat's whiskers. Like, it's so.
Yeah, he says
it's
like, I'll
just
give you her power and you her rage. Never does he say, and your cat appearance.
No, when they're on
Yeah.
that, when they're in the
Where the
plane
fuck is she a
together.
cat?
When they're in the plane together, he's like slumped over and like, oh,
She,
I'm dying
okay, hold
of
on.
my
No, I know.
organs."
She says she wants to be an apex predator, which, first of all, cheetah. That's not the first thing
Yeah.
that I think of when I think of apex predator, but that's whatever.
Shark boy.
But
Yeah.
still, that doesn't
No,
translate
it's
to
way
cat person.
stupid.
That's not what that means.
Also,
To me,
I thought it was
it
my
does.
understanding that she just like her wish backfired so hard she just turned into a cat. That's what I thought. So I did
Oh,
not
like-
know it was because he gave her powers.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
like
gave
that
you
better.
guys-
X-Men
becoming-
First Class. Where he's like,
yeah, I just
oh,
thought
I
she
want
was
to be
becoming
normal and
so,
now I'm blue.
Yeah, I thought she was just becoming so evil that she was just turning into a cheetah.
Right.
Which I was like,
Also
Okay.
bad.
I mean, they
Yeah.
do set up early on in the movie where like Wonder Woman's wearing cheetah print heels and she's like, ooh, animal prints. I think she like latches onto that. But that's, I don't know. I don't know why she wants to be a cat so badly.
Like, even if she has a cat, is that it's not Batman
Oh,
Returns
she's a
where
furry.
she's like It's not where she's like, oh, people have called her the crazy cat lady, and so when she rejects that life, she kind of takes it as like this kind of joking, whatever. And maybe her cat
Right.
breathes life into her, or whatever the fuck happened to Batman
Yeah,
Returns.
yeah.
Because the
She
But the
committee.
point is,
drowns
she
and
like
then
builds a
cats breathe on
suit,
her.
and it's a choice that she makes, and it makes sense for her and who she is. Kristen Wiig just
Right.
being a fucking cat person randomly for the last 5 minutes of the film, and then a regular person
With like
during the end
PS2
credits.
graphics.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
no fucking sense. Makes no sense. Also, golden armor costume sucks. Looks bad.
Yeah, no, it
Cat
doesn't look
costume
good.
sucks. Looks bad.
Well,
Costumes
see, I don't think
don't look good.
I don't think the cheetah
I
costume's
thought the
that
golden.
bad.
I thought the golden costume was pretty cool for
It
a
was
moment,
boring.
and then it
It's
just
just
died
gold,
down.
I didn't
and that's
mind the
it. They just
armor.
took the Wonder Woman costume and put body armor underneath it and made it gold. I thought it was boring.
So, okay. We've been a bunch of negative Nellies on this podcast so far. Been a
Okay.
lot of grumpy Gusses.
Are we
on
gonna
here.
do like we should do a circle of
Well,
what I
just
liked
wanna
about the
say,
movie?
I just want to say, look, I'm the kind of person.
I don't think I physically can.
Especially with the energy that I've tried to cultivate on this podcast, I like to be more positive than I am negative, just in general as a person. And not that it's like, oh, this is equally good and bad. I just mean like I want to be fair about it, right? I think that this movie, the first hour and 10 minutes of this movie, up until the like invisible jet scene, I think are totally fine. I mean, besides maybe like the intro, which is like too long and not interesting, but like, you know, the part where she's fighting at the mall, I think is totally fine. It has like a
Super
really old
fun.
school vibe. It's
Oh,
kind of
I
fun.
hated it.
I thought that all the stuff with Steve Trevor going around looking at 80s stuff was fun. I thought
Super
Chris Pine
fun.
was
I
good.
I really liked how, because in the first movie, like Diana doesn't know anything about the world, and he's teaching her,
Yeah.
and she does her montage of trying on different outfits, which is
Yeah.
kind of an old trope,
Hell
but like
yeah.
it was fun. I like that they subverted
Yeah.
it, and he loves sneakers. He's a sneakerhead.
And there's this
That
one
Yeah.
was so nice.
There's this one little throwaway line where he refers to the fanny pack with the American flag on it as U.S. issue, as if he thinks it's like some
Yes.
piece of like military hardware. Which I think
Which is like
so
you'd
funny.
assume, like if you're a soldier who died in the 1910s,
Right.
you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, obviously this is standard issue. I
Um,
love Steve Trevor. I loved him in the first movie. I love him in this movie, and I was scared that they were gonna do like weird. Ooh, he's a weird villain.
Right.
Bucky Barnes.
And I
Yeah.
think
I would have liked that more. There's just so many other avenues this movie could have taken, and it would have been a better movie.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
like
all of the Steve Trevor stuff I was a really big fan of.
Yeah, I
honestly,
like
me
that.
too. I feel like the first hour and 10 minutes of this movie is like, oh yeah, like I'm on board. Like this isn't great, but I'm like here for this, and like I'll assume it'll get more
Oh,
interesting
no.
later. And then the thing that happens later is it goes absolutely off the rails in every conceivable way, and you're like, oh well, I guess that didn't really pan out.
Right.
But like, I think, and I feel like we just have to acknowledge that Chris Pine's line reading of "Well, shit, Diana" is the funniest thing in this movie. It's pretty good.
Well, Chris Pine is a phenomenal actor. I
Yeah, I
am a
kinda-
Pine nut. Like,
Jesus Christ.
That's great.
I'm a Pine nut. Big fan of Chris Pine. I've loved his Princess Diaries too. I think he's fantastic. Lots of charisma there, and I just think the chemistry between. Okay, that's my one nice thing that I'll say about this movie. I think the chemistry between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine is very real and it's very good.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the only positive thing I can muster about this movie is
Feel
that their
bad saying
chemistry is
that the male lead is the best part of this movie, but he's kind of the best part of this movie.
Right, yeah.
yeah. Like there's really, I mean, I may be very negative about this because I am very superhero fatigued. I'm very, very tired of superhero films personally. Haven't really enjoyed a Marvel movie since Thor Ragnarok, which isn't that long ago. But I've been sticking to the DC animated movies. I don't know if you guys have that sweet, sweet HBO Max subscription, but some of the animated Batman movies are really good. The Teen Titans one's pretty decent too, but I've enjoyed those more because those feel more honest and more like the comics to me. because they can do a lot more, because it's for a smaller audience. It's not a broad brush where like they need to explain things. Like I watched Batman Hush, and they had like half of Batman's rogues gallery in there, and they didn't explain themselves. They didn't
Right.
like, they assumed you knew who everybody was. Like, Scarecrow shows up in the old school Scarecrow look with the scythe and the bag on his head, and like you were just supposed to know that Scarecrow. You know what I mean? Like the movie didn't know, like had no time to explain who was who. And I like that so much more, because I think that like, and I understand why that could never be with these big budget superhero movies, because they have to put butts in the seats and they have to sell it on a wider audience. But I think that's one of the biggest things that's limiting these comic book movies, is they're trying to make it too broad, and they're trying to make it too available to everyone, and it's not good. You're dealing with a weird concept. You're dealing with a woman who has an invisible jet and a rope that gets people to tell the truth, and you're going to tell me that you're going to try to make that easily accessible for everybody? It's not easily accessible for everybody. It's just not, like, fundamentally, and that's okay. And I think that they could have like been more creative, and they weren't. And I mean, like, yeah,
Like
that's
what I really loved about the first Wonder Woman is that it felt like there was a good balance between like gritty, lived in, this is actually World War I circumstances, and like fantastical Diana. She's a goddess and is strong and invincible. And like the tension was, is this war fueled by man, or is this fueled by like this fantastical Ares character? And I think where they tripped up was the execution of Ares's influence, and that he was there the whole time and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Because the strength of that movie is Steve Trevor saying, no, like killing Ares isn't going to end the war. Like
Right.
there's
right.
problems here. But then
Yeah, I forgot about
I
that.
think
What a
that
movie
when
rules.
that happened, when like people didn't react well to Ares like weird mustache, I'm going to kill you, I'm CGI character. Like people didn't react well to that. But the problem wasn't Ares. The problem was the way they executed Ares. I feel like this movie really needed like a trickster god who was there the whole time, and he was the one who promised this stone of like magic ability to Pedro Pascal or something like that, that was driving this chaotic energy, instead of like, well, I need oil and I need people to answer my telephones for my son, but I guess I don't actually like my son.
If they would just let Wonder Woman be silly and have fun with it and do cool things, like just have a fucking Greek god be the villain, like just like, that's just like sewn into her DNA. That's silly. She's got a tiara, boomerang, an invisible jet, and she's from ancient Greece essentially. And like you're not gonna have any fun with that. You're just gonna play it as straight as possible. Like, I mean, it's just such a missed opportunity.
I don't think that's the problem with this movie, because they do give her the invisible jet. It's based on a wishing stone. She lassos the lightning at one point.
I think that the knee-jerk reaction to, oh, people didn't like Ares, I think that's like a big problem, where it doesn't, there's just a fundamentally like missing piece where it feels like Diana is reacting to something that is unknown, or like this, like the origins of this stone are really unclear, and they try to clarify, but it doesn't actually mean anything to like her character or like Pedro Pascal's character. It's just this stone that exists, and the god who made it is bad, and he's got monkey paw energy. So this will not end well for humanity and the nuclear war. But I really love Diana as a character. I want her to stay like flawed and stay strong, and it feels like this movie just didn't challenge her enough. I just wanted her to be challenged.
I just wanted this movie to be Wonder Woman's Thor Ragnarok, and it wasn't. And forever upset.
I think we've been going at this for a while. We could probably start to wrap things up more or less here, but I do want to say that I think one good thing that is coming out of this movie, regardless of the fact that it is a big dookie, is that Patty Jenkins, for so long in Hollywood, women directors get one shot. And if they mess up ever, then they get to write for television from now on, you know? And the fact that this movie is a big, steamy, dookie dog doo-doo, and she's still, you know, regardless, she's still signed on for a third Wonder Woman, she's still signed on for a new Star Wars movie, is encouraging in a very specific type of way, where people like Karen Kusama just got fucked over by a bad movie or two. Patty Jenkins finally is at a point where she has like industry clout to be able to recover from one big turd, you know, which I think, I mean, I don't know who's to say. We're still fairly shallow into the backlash on this movie. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe she'll get fired from both of those jobs, but there is something specifically heartening about the fact that this movie sucks so bad in a weird kind of way.
Well, because if Tim Burton can make shit shows all he wants for the past decade and still be Tim Burton street cred,
employable,
Yeah, it's nice.
I think
it's
we need
nice to be able to fail. It's really nice. That as a woman, it's nice to be able to fail.
By the way,
I don't think the problem at all is having a woman writing. I think it's that Patty Jenkins is a more talented director than she is a writer, and that's okay. We should just hire another woman to write the script. Like the last
just get another woman. Yeah.
I also just want to say that, like, this movie, I was so let down by this movie because this movie had, like, one of the better trailers of the last few years. And, like, just the idea of, like, you know, there are so many movies where it's, like, a director coming back for a superhero sequel for something that they directed the first one of, where they get to go bigger and weirder and have a much more unique take than they did the first time, you know? Like, that on top of the fact that the trailer was so well put together, and like the color grading on that trailer was so good. I was like obsessed with the way that Wonder Woman costume looked in that trailer, because it was like such a deep red. It was like almost purple. It looked so great. And that was not, first of all, the movie was just bad for a lot of other reasons, but also this movie looks bland as shit. Like the color grading from that trailer was so great, but it's totally washed out. And like visually, like, I am so completely understimulated by this movie. Like, it was hard for me to get excited about anything I was looking at.
We get, like, crumbs of an aesthetic, like, throughout the film. Like, when we're in the 80s mall, there's definitely that 80s aesthetic there, which is really nice. It's a little bit overplayed because of Stranger Things, but, like, it's nice and we all like it. And, like, we get crumbs of it throughout the whole thing. But, yeah, like, on the whole, like, halfway through this movie, we just lose all sense of any kind of aesthetic, and then we're just, like, making a movie.
Can kind of be like, it can be a crutch to like lean too far into like, this is happening in the 80s, and then when you stop, like, look at these leotards, look at these leg warmers, we've got a mall, like, then you're like, oh, now the tone feels like it shifted, or that it doesn't matter anymore. But
because so much of the messaging is about the greed of the 80s, it's weird that we don't go as hard about the aesthetic of the 80s. Like, that's so important for the 80s.
Have you seen that like Comedy Central, not Comedy Central, College Humor skit where they have an 80s party and like one of the girls going is just like dressed up in like 80s workout gear, and everyone else is like, oh, I'm dressed up as a Reagan voter, or just like very plain things about that decade, and it's so funny to me. And I feel like we get so lost in like, this is what we think in the 2020s, this is what the 80s looked like, and then it gets a little fuddled when you're like, oh, and here's the actual president, and here's actual like economic turmoil and potential World War III.
Does not look like Ronald Reagan, and we will not say the words Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, I don't think he was supposed to be Ronald Reagan. I think he was just...
Which is even weirder.
I think it was supposed to be Ronald Reagan. I think
if he was really Ronald Reagan, they would have gotten a guy who looked more like Ronald Reagan.
Maybe he was just generically conservative president.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, he was just white man president. Yeah.
But that's fucking stupid if it's the year 1984. Also, second
Well, it
of
was
all,
the year 2016 and Batman v Superman and Patrick Wilson was the president.
but
He
that's
wasn't president
different.
then.
That's not a historical time. They're not talking about the greed. Ronald Reagan is literally like the fountainhead of greed in the 80s. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, it's literally the year 1984. And Steve at no point is like, wait, you mean like the fucking book? Like that never... That's never a line.
Well,
I guess I don't remember when
out.
1984 was written, but still.
Yeah,
But still, why did they choose 1984?
It is weird. It is odd that they chose 1984.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I think Kristen Wiig is hot as shit in this movie. I didn't stand up for her earlier, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents out there. I think she's doing it. I think she's hot as hell. That's just my 2 cents.
All right, hey, listen. Whatever gets your goat, dude. If that's what like does it for you, I respect that. I just personally think that they could have picked literally anyone else.
Do you guys?
That's fine. I just don't think she's scary. I'm not intimidated.
Do you guys want to
hear by her?
What the? Do you guys want to hear the plot synopsis? This is just something.
1 star or 5 star?
Whoa. This is just something weird on the Letterboxd page for this movie. Do you want to hear the official plot synopsis that continues to be up to this day?
Absolutely.
I guess.
It says, Wonder Woman 1984, Wonder Woman comes into conflict with the Soviet Union during the Cold War in the 1980s and finds a formidable foe by the name of Cheetah.
Incorrect.
Just like fully not the plot of the movie. I don't know what's up with that.
Maybe they were just guessing.
A lot more fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, sounds like a good plot. Is not the plot.
Maybe they were just guessing what they thought it should be about. They're like, well, given the time period, this would probably make sense.
Okay, I know we said we were wrapping up. I have one last thing from my notes I want to say before I get to the actual end of the podcast, okay? Which is that setting a big summer blockbuster at Christmas time is a classic trick. And it's one that I love. I think that's one of my favorite things that movies do. It's why Iron Man 3 is the best movie in the MCU and everyone in the world can find me about it. And classic other examples, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon. That's like a classic move that feels good going down every time. But there is something distinctly upsetting about sitting down on Christmas Day in the afternoon to watch this movie and having them be like, it's the 4th of July. That does not go down smooth. That feels weird and gross and bad, and I don't like it one bit.
I think that...
At the end of the movie, also.
That's not super their fault.
No, of course it's not. They didn't plan for it to come out then. But
I think that one couldn't be helped.
Wonder Woman, they had a deal with Dairy Queen to like release a special Wonder Woman Blizzard during the summer, and Dairy Queen still went ahead and released that Blizzard, which I think is so funny. It was pretty good. I highly recommend it. They don't have it anymore.
No, yeah, and I don't fault the movie for that. It's just weird.
Just funny.
It's just weird how when the roles are reversed, how bad and weird it feels.
It was weird that it was so we end the movie, it's July, and then the next scene it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And then the movie's done. That was weird. That was a weird thing that they did.
Okay, so to wrap up the show, this is what we do every week, Meg, is we read a 1-star review of the movie that I find on the internet.
I love that. That's so good.
So would you guys like to hear a 1-star review of 1980 Wonder Woman?
I would. Wonder Woman.
So this review comes from imdb.com. And this person says,
incredible.
1 star. Poor act, poor plot, poor outfit, poor CG, and finally, religious hatred? What the fuck? In 1984, there is no way that someone would say Happy Holidays! This is obviously religious hatred for the Christian Christmas.
Oh, that's a twist that I didn't see coming. I thought they were going to talk about the Islamophobia in that movie, but they just took it in a whole other direction. Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah, that's the religious phobia that we're talking about.
Yeah, damn, Shawty, okay.
They literally reference God in this movie. Like, Pedro Pascal's like, I was blessed by the Lord, and screw that televangelist. So I don't like. I would literally was like, are they allowed to do that in this movie?
Forget
Anyway.
the fact that this movie literally says that there are canonically Greek gods and no
Yeah.
other gods, but that's fine.
Exactly. Okay, so anyway, my name is Jackson McMurray.
My name is Adeline McMurray.
My name is Kezia Rhodes.
And my name is Cosmonaut Meg.
Hell yeah. And this has
And
been No
if you
Nerds
would like to
Allowed.
follow
fuck,
us
fuck!
on if you would like to follow us on any of the social medias, you could follow No Nerds Pod at No Nerds Pod on Twitter. You could follow Jackson McMurray at Jepperpack, and you can follow Adeline McMurray at Hollaback Horse. You can follow me, Kezia Rhodes, at Beyonce, and you can follow Meg at Megan is the worst. Is that right?
Yeah, Megan's the worst on
With an
Twitter,
H.
baby. With an H.
With an H. Don't misspell it,
Please.
because then you're getting
Come for
somebody
you.
else. And then you can like, comment, subscribe. Please tell us what your favorite 80s iconography is in the comments. We would love to know.
Is
My
it
personal favorite
scrunchies?
is Alf.
Oh,
There
hell
you
yeah.
go.
Anyway, that was the
Yeah,
that was
and
the-
go ahead. I
the
know I
plug.
plugged our TikTok on the last episode. I still haven't posted
Oh, yeah.
anything on there.
Follow us on
Yeah, I
TikTok.
followed it. I think I'm the only follower.
Yeah, it's in the works. Okay, we have a TikTok account, and I've been making those little highlight videos. I've got a few of them banked up, and eventually I'm gonna start putting them on TikTok, Twitter, maybe YouTube too. Not sure. That's in the works. If you want to be first in line for our TikTok content that is also on Twitter, not even exclusive. If you're really that excited about it, go for it. Follow us on TikTok. We'd appreciate it. And also, if you're listening on podcast platforms, we do stream every night. Not every night. Every Friday night
Jesus.
on YouTube, except for the times when we don't, like this time. But we stream these episodes live, so you can interact with us in real time.
We talk about movies once a week, but 6 times a week we scream into a bucket about movies we don't like.
Yeah.
That's only on Patreon.
that
and
special bucket. Patreon subscribers only, baby.
and vice versa is also true. If you're watching on YouTube right now, if I'm looking at you right this second, you can also follow on podcast platforms, because the final podcast version has like theme music and better audio and edits and such. If such a thing interests you, go back and revisit the back catalog. It's much more interesting to listen to the finished version than the old streams if you're like listening to old episodes. Anyway, those are our plugs. Anyway, I'm Jackson McMurray. Oh, I'm Adeline McMurray. Oh, I'm Kezia Rhodes and Cosmonaut Meg. And there's No Nerds Allowed. Thank you. Good night.
Fun.
Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing.
Dismount. Perfect landing.
Okay,
10 out of 10.
we can all go ahead and stop our recordings.
Beautiful. I stopped mine.
And if you could just send those to me on Google Drive, just like shoot me a link in Discord.
Yeah, for sure.
It should be easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
And oh
lemony
man,
fresh.
I didn't
Yeah.
even think to address this. This is our first time streaming since we crossed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That is so
Oh, yeah.
exciting.
Which is
Congratulations, guys.
So wild. I'm so grateful for everybody who's here. We haven't been interacting with the chat as much as we usually do.
Today.
But like, look at all these people. There's so many people like looking at our stuff. It's not that much relatively, we know that, but like Kevin the Little Alien has been around a lot lately. Sat showed up at one point. Headquarter Productions is becoming one of
Yeah,
our
my
biggest
boy
fans.
Sat.
They're
I know.
there
I'm
every
always
week.
happy when I see Headquarter Productions.
Somebody
Also,
named Theo
The point
Robinson.
that Diana can turn into swans in sand is so funny. That is so funny. Which
Tight.
I hope so.
Tiber Van Diesel was there for a little while. That's a sick ass name. I hope we can keep
I
them
hope that's
around.
their given name.
Theo Robinson.
Here's to you, Theo Robinson.
Jesus loves you more than.
More than
I
you
tried to come up with
know.
funny words, but I couldn't do it in time.
Oh.
So I said the regular words. And of course, the Cade and Ian are always here, and we love them very much as well. But honestly, you're not as important. You're not as exciting. You're we've become bored of you.
And I'm gonna say this. I don't care that you broke your elbow.
I'm gonna say this. I don't care that you broke your elbow.
I'm talking to you, Cade. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
There
Cade was there.
You
They
care
were
that you
like,
broke your
"Hey,
elbow."
I like Asian drinks too." Okay.
There was one time a few weeks ago that we got somebody just random in the chat just showed up. It was like, Cade, you smell. And like left.
Aw.
It was like,
Oh
who
no!
is this person? Like, what's going on with that?
Bullied our chat and
That
then
was
left.
yeah, it wasn't even mean to us, just like pointed out one specific person in the chat. It was just like, hey, I bet you smell bad. This is just left. It's so weird.
Also, just for the record, they do not smell.
No,
So,
of course not.
Great.
Back up, Terry.
They smell like moonbeams and honeysuckle.
I don't think honeysuckle
Honeysuckle.
is a thing.
Oh, yes,
Maybe
it
you're
is.
just
It's-
an idiot, Jackson.
Honeysuckle is it's like a blade that they use to cut down crops, but it's made out of bee spit. Pretty sure
And
that's
honeysuckle. What's
It's
the
a
purple?
honeysuckle.
It's like a popsicle that's made of honey.
Oh, that'd be delicious.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah,
good
I don't know why
idea.
that wasn't your
Sorry,
first thought.
vegan.
Do vegans not do honey?
No, it's an
Vegans
animal
don't do
product.
honey.
Byproduct, bro.
I got different definitions of animal.
They watched the Bee Movie and thought that's how honey works, and now they hate it. Because
Well,
it's actually,
I
hey
don't
kids, it's
define
actually good to
veganism.
take honey from bees because they make way too fucking much of it, and it's good for us to like help, like keep their hive healthy and intact. And we take some honey because they make too fucking much of it, and they'll just drown in the honey. So it's a good thing to raise bees. Don't be anti-honey.
And don't be
Yeah.
anti-capitalism.
Pro B.
No, do be anti-capitalism.
No. That's literally what the Bee movie says. They're like, actually, you do need to be working for the man because if you don't, then the flowers will die.
They'll just be lazy all the time.
That's true. Yeah, did you see the homeless man in Wonder Woman? Why do you think he was homeless? Because he didn't work.
Didn't work.
There you go.
Because some white lady brought
Wanted
him
to be
food
homeless.
sometimes.
Yeah, we love it. And he's just like very happily sitting on a park bench, not being shooed off by the police.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us, Meg. I thought that went really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I just like spit venom all over that movie.
No, it's
I was-
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
we can
your
get you back
opinion
on
I
on
our
was
Wonder
show.
Woman.
angry all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
The
It's not very
validity.
often we get somebody on here who likes to talk as much as I do on the show, which is a good balance.
Hey.
Yeah. I can talk all day about how much I hate Wonder Woman, to be honest. I really bottled up the rage. I felt like earlier I was on Discord with a few friends and they were like, hey guys, so how was watching Wonder Woman? And I was like, I can't about this yet. I'm not ready.
It's so
Just-
wild.
I'm not ready.
Gonna
I
explode.
need at least 10 more days to process my
Yeah.
rage.
Give me 5 to 10 business days to
Here's to you, Theo Robinson. I can't ever continue on with a conversation and type at the same time. So
yeah,
I'm
it's
just
the
going to sing
worst.
about Theo Robinson.
Theo Robinson. You were in our chat and you were cool. Woo woo woo.
Rural.
A rule.
Will it work today? Nailed it. I don't know why last week I couldn't copy and paste correctly, but something was wrong. I don't know what though.
I'll try to get an image from Google. That'll happen. I'll be like, I've done this a million times. Why isn't it working this
Why
one
is this not
time?
working?
Oh, I should have plugged Find Us Alive. There's a new episode of Find Us Alive coming out tomorrow where I have a very meaty role and I wrote some music for it as well. That's probably my favorite music that I've written for that show so far. So if any of you guys, it's a podcast called SCP: Find Us Alive that I work on with my girlfriend Anna McGuire, my high school girlfriend Anna McGuire. And I think she's watching, unless she left. But
He probably left.
that's coming out tomorrow, and it's going to be really good. I listened to the episode, and it's pretty sick. So if people want to
Yeah.
listen to that, that'd be cool.
And
Also,
I
if you're
feel like-
listening from Spokane, I hope that you're safe and you have heat. The end.
Yeah.
Or just the eastish side of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
My
okay.
Twitter just a little bit, cause like I don't post a whole lot, but when I do, I post a lot of my art and I post just random thoughts, usually about video games. But if you enjoy my fucking nonsense, then go over onto my Twitter.
We already did your Twitter, Adeline.
Well, we just said what it was called. We didn't do a little intro. What's on your fucking Twitter,
Oh, my fucking
Jackson?
Twitter is me talking about what movies are good.
Yeah, so if you just
My
want the
Twitter
podcast
is just a
some
mentally
more.
ill white woman.
Most of my tweets
My
are just
Twitter is-
like, remember this movie that rules? That movie ruled. And that's
My
it.
Twitter is also a mentally ill white woman, even though I'm not white.
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
It's a persona I've adopted.
it's a state of mind.
You're like
It's a state
22.
of mind. Yeah.
But
Um,
I would love
Let's take a
to
look
be
at my
white.
most recent
I think
tweets.
it seems fun.
What were the
He's
most
gonna
recent
say
things I
some of the
tweeted?
tweets that he thought were good.
Okay, let's see. So I said watching Wonder Woman 1984 for the second time was gonna take all fucking day, which was true. It took me like 5 hours
did.
because I
It
kept
took all
stopping
fucking
and
day.
doing other stuff. Let's see. None of this would be happening if Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat were president, which I stand by. Sometimes I just listen to The Social Network or Steve Jobs in my earbuds like their podcasts, and I stand by that.
Someone where you can Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat.
Yeah. I got a little bit steamy about some unimportant news, and I said my least favorite headline is when people say like, "Here's why critics didn't like such and such a thing," because you know who's great at explaining critics' feelings are critics, which I also stand by. All these things I said 2 days ago, I stand by, pretty unilaterally.
Your opinion on what you said personally hasn't changed in 2 days?
No, it
That's
hasn't yet.
crazy.
Well, maybe we can check back later, but as of now, it still holds up in my opinion.
Yeah, I
IMHO.
hope that like 20 years in the future, that's like cancelable. You're like, oh, damn it.
Shouldn't have said that.
Shouldn't have said that about Skimbleshanks the
Skimbleshanks.
Railway Cat.
Yeah, people,
When he is president and you're like, oh, and he's like really problematic and you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
God
Whoops.
damn
things
it.
wouldn't have been better if
Skimbleshanks.
Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat was president.
They would be though. I still believe that. Skimbleshanks.
is that a song? I'm pretty sure.
No, it's
Pretty
like
sure it is.
Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat, the cat on the strongest way. There's a whisper
God, I'm
down
so
the
glad I'm
line
getting
at
free cat
11:39, and the
content.
something's in the bag. And
Nailed it.
They'll say,
Keep
Skimble,
going.
where is Skimble? Is he playing with the thimble at a or the train can't start? And there's like a drum solo. It's a good fucking song. That song rips so hard. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
we know,
apologize.
No, well, I don't think anyone's asking for your apology yet, but
Well,
wait
good,
20 years
because we're
when they
not gonna
cancel
get it.
Skimbleshanks.
Skimbleshanks.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
need to prepare just in case.
All right.
You never know. You
Okay,
never.
are we done? Should I
know.
stop the stream? How are we feeling?
Are we done? We're probably done.
Any other opinions on Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat?
I can't think of any.
I still think that Mr. Mistopheles is number one.
That's
so I will.
bullshit.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I have you ever met a cat as clever as magical Mr. Mistopheles? I don't think you have.
What does he even
So
do?
Jackson.
I guess he makes
He
Helen Mirren
literally
appear.
brings back old Deuteronomy. What does
Right.
Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat do? Dance on a railroad?
He
That's
sings the
it.
best song in the goddamn movie. All of Mr. Mistopheles' songs are
Oh
dumb.
well, I never was ever a cat. When it that song literally gets people on their feet.
That's
so
not
I will
even
not.
true.
Yes, it is. What are
He's
you
just
talking
dancing in
about?
the aisles like she's at church.
Yeah, I don't dance at church, but I do dance during magical Mr. Mistopheles. He's doing like flips. Crazy.
That is
so good.
outrageous. You know who's also good is Growl Tiger.
I hate you.
When they go on the boat and he's just like, "Hey, what's all this thing? What's all with all these fucking cats?" And you're like, "Yeah, this guy rules."
Who's the evil cat? I like that one.
McCavity.
McCavity.
McCavity. I don't like that he's
God.
naked in the movie though.
Should we do an episode on cats? Would that even be
Yes,
fun?
absolutely.
I think-
What
well,
would
I
you
don't
even-
here's the thing
I-
though.
Would it just sound like this? Is this what people want?
Here's
it
the
would
thing,
just be an hour of this.
Is that I love to talk about cats, but I do not want to watch cats again.
Well,
I really don't.
You can watch the Skimbleshanks part again. Rips.
Yeah, sure, but I don't want to watch the other 2 hours.
I feel like Cats would have to be a movie that we do like a watch along recording where we record us
Maybe.
watching it because
If
I've
we
never
get
seen
to-
it
if we
before,
get
so you
to
would like have to
10,000
get my first
subs.
time impressions.
Yeah, maybe we need to start setting goals for subs or something. What do people want us to do?
Maybe
Yeah.
people should comment what they want us to
Yeah.
do, because if you don't, we won't know.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
It's
That's
hard to be
true.
like, if we get 1,000 subscribers, we'll do this thing.
The peop-
like, not
the
even
people
knowing.
want cats.
Yeah.
They want them. You want fucking cat people?
Maybe it would be Nightmare Before Christmas. We've had people say we want to do that.
Probably. I would, dude. I could fucking go off on Nightmare Before Christmas. I got so much.
never seen
I
that
got so
before.
much.
Never seen
It's
Nightmare
good.
Before Christmas. No,
It's good.
that's not
Tim
true. I
Burton
watch
doesn't
it
give
at
enough
least.
of a shit to give you any lore, but god damn it, I've got enough lore for myself.
I watch it at least twice a year. I love that movie.
It's so good. It's so good. It was written by a woman, and she's great.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, man.
Jack's Lament was in my top 100. No
Yeah, because it
cap.
fucking slaps. It slaps. I fucking love. I think it's the reprise of Jack's Lament where he's like, first of all, he's like laying in the arms of the angel, which also is
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
just
So
the
metal.
best imagery. It's so cool. But then when he like gets up and he just like gets fucking pissed, and then he starts singing, and he like gets up and he like gets like re-inspired. That's like fucking. It's so good. It's the best part of the song. Anyway.
It's so good.
Anyway, I'm just gonna simp for Jack
Hot take,
Skellington
you
for
guys.
a second,
Hot
and then we
take.
can move on.
Nightmare Before Christmas is a good movie.
It's
Pretty
a fucking
good.
good movie. It's so good. Sally fucking carries this
Amazing.
movie. She
Amazing.
carries it.
Hot takes only. We're gonna be getting. People are gonna be mad about it, but we're gonna be honest, okay?
Yeah.
I'm so
Right
10,000.
now, the original like story of Nightmare Before Christmas fucking sucks because Sally isn't in it, and this story sucks so much more when Sally isn't in it because she's the fucking heart and soul of the story.
And I'm glad you're saying that. It's like, it feels like you're not allowed to say that kind of stuff anymore. You know, like, people,
Yeah, I know it's not PC.
like, we just need people to stand up for themselves, you know? Like, just say the shit. Say the shit you're all thinking, you know? That's what I want to be.
Jackson, what's your hot take about the Nightmare Before Christmas?
The guy with the clown face?
Yeah.
The clown with
Pretty-
the tearaway face.
the-
Aaron
yes,
Slash
that's
and
it.
Gone Without a Trace.
The clown with the tearaway face, I think he is, let's just say, I've read some reporting about him and his personal life that is
Never
not
watch
thrilling.
the movie the same again.
Is not exactly thrilling to know about. It colors a lot of different things slightly differently. I feel like I'm losing the plot on this bit because the persona
are.
I've just adopted is very different than the persona I had about 15 seconds ago.
Yep.
Um,
I do want to say that as much. This is a bit. People have talked about us wanting to do the Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm sure we will do the Nightmare Before Christmas. But I want to highly recommend the Christmas movies that made us. The documentary on Netflix. Watch the Nightmare
it's
Before
very
Christmas
cute.
one. It's like the best documentary I've seen about the Nightmare Before Christmas. Because it has a nostalgia for it without like trying to romanticize what really happened when they were making it. Because the process of
It
making
also
it
makes
kind
Tim
of
Burton look
sucked.
like an asshole.
It was hard and they struggled a lot, and Tim Burton was not helpful at all in the struggle that they were facing trying to make this movie. It's just a really good documentary, and it makes you like the movie and have more respect for how they made it. Like, because the one that they give you on the special features for Nightmare Before Christmas, it's very much just about like the Disney magic of we made a movie and look how pretty it is. And I feel like this one really captures like both sides of it, that like they had to struggle in order to make this, and the struggle made it pay off. So like go watch that documentary. It's really good.
Oh, by the way, this is something I've been meaning to start implementing at the end of the show, and I always forget. There's a lot of stuff that I forget to do at the ends of these shows, but
Yeah.
do we want to like just go around the horn and like, this will be in the podcast just for the stream though. Do we want to like say what's something you've been watching or reading or listening to that you like lately? Just like a general, like, what's cool? What do you like, since we hated Wonder Woman 1984 so much?
I am currently rewatching all of
Attack on Titan.
Oh.
Okay.
Because the last season, season 4, is coming out, and I feel like because the first season came out and then there was a really long gap in between, like people kind of lost steam and stopped caring about it. But it's so like it's just really fun to watch like giant monsters attacking people and like having cool swords and stuff. But it also has like really interesting takes on like what the consequences of war are, and like what we perceive to be enemies are usually just people who perceive us to be enemies, and it's just really good and so fun. And if you have Hulu, you can watch all of it right now.
Oh,
So that's
really?
what I've been watching.
I
Yeah.
might look into that. I've never dipped my toe into Attack on Titan. Maybe I'll take a peek.
I like the first like 1 through like the first 6 episodes are kind of just like setting up the world, and then from there on it's real good. It's real good. I think, and
Real
they have
good.
the dubbed and subbed versions. I think they're both valid.
Valid
So-
takes.
They get different things from both. I've watched both of them, and I like both of them.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were that into Attack on Titan.
Could like a few years ago, I was in a lurch. I love The Walking Dead, and I stopped liking The Walking Dead because it felt like they were just doing things to do things and like shock value, and they stopped caring about their characters. And I feel like Attack on Titan has similar themes, but it's
Levoid.
they actually have a plan and a place for characters to grow and go to, and meaning behind everything they do. So Attack on Titan's what I've
Hell
been
yeah.
watching.
Go Engine.
All right,
Yeah,
Adeline, what's
I
up?
have been. What?
I say, what's up, Adeline?
So I have been. This is maybe embarrassing. I have been going back and I've been rewatching My Little Pony Friendship is Magic from the beginning because it was such a huge part of my identity as a middle schooler. And then I wasn't a middle schooler anymore, but the show kept going for a really long time, like actually. And so like I never got to like finish the series just because I kind of dropped out of it. But so I've just been like going back and like watching it and like seeing what I still like. It's a good show. There's still parts of it that I really love, and the art is still really colorful and satisfying and nice. And like I like kind of like dipping my toes back into the community to like see people's like fan art and stuff like that, because like I think I've talked about this before. There is like an element of like reclaiming My Little Pony of like women my age, because when we were little and watching My Little Pony, we were on the internet enough to know that we were not welcome because it was bronies only and a men only space. So to like be an adult woman now and try to kind of like reclaim the My Little Pony experience is just kind of nice. So like I'm having fun enjoying it, you know?
Yeah.
Like a really good video on like brony culture that like talks a lot about how she was literally like part of the like My Little Pony like conference experience, and would have
Right.
men coming up to her being like, "You're not a real brony. You're not a real fan." And she's like, I'm actually part of the panel, so
Yeah.
I just remember when I was watching that Toys That Made Us documentary series on the My Little Pony episode. What's the name of the woman who's like the showrunner of that? Is it Lauren something?
Yeah, Lauren Faust.
Lauren Faust. I just like all the interviews with her and the way she talked about My Little Pony. She was just like so passionate about it and so like genuine in the way she expressed herself about it. As a person who's literally never had any opinions about My Little Pony ever, just being like, hell yeah, My Little Pony is culturally important. Like,
Yeah.
just being like, wow, is My Little Pony like really incredible? Is it like maybe the most important thing ever? She was just like so charismatic.
Honestly, like, Jackson, I think you should watch My Little
Yeah,
Pony.
maybe.
Like, because it honestly, I would argue that it takes a little bit to get going. I would argue the first season is very much just like children's TV. But like in second season, they kind of pull a Steven Universe where they do get much more musical in the second season than they are in the first season.
Right.
But you'll probably like it because it's way more episodic than it is like an overstretching plot. But like the animation is good. I like the lessons that they're teaching. There's like, especially as you get into like the later seasons, they start doing weirder stuff and like kind of stretching what they can do inside of like a kids TV show. And like the way that it was a weird situation with Bronies where it was like half of it was like creating a space where men who felt outcasted could express femininity, and then the other half of it was horrible men that kept women out and kept little girls out and hated women so much that they liked ponies instead. It's just a really interesting thing to look at. So I like, yeah, watch My Little Pony, dude.
The oh shoot, I was about to say something about My Little Pony, but I totally forgot what it was. Meg, what's up? Do you have anything, or do you want us to skip you? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah, I've been watching Bridgerton. I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It's good, yeah.
Definitely don't think it's quality television, but it sure is television and
Cool.
is fun to watch. I'm a really big fan of Jane Austen, and I love Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette. So I feel like it kind of marries the two. It has a lot of the colorfulness that Marie Antoinette has, and I'm just a slut for period pieces. So I will pretty much, as long as there's some kind of intrigue in it, watch it.
I wish I had something to piggyback. I don't think I really know much about Bridgerton at all, besides that it's like a pulpy, corny period romance.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
that's
that's all you
got it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
really the long and short of it. There's just not too much going on there. It's really pretty easy to follow. It's a step above CW dramas.
Right.
Ever so slightly. Because the costuming is gorgeous and the actors are really talented. But yeah, no, it's not a bad show. I'm enjoying it. I have 3 episodes left, I think. Each episode is about an hour long, so it's pretty binge worthy.
So I'm about to school all you guys. I'm about to be so smart, and you guys are all gonna be like, "Oh, this guy rules. This guy is very smart and interesting." Because I'm about to say a book. Yeah, that's right. Who would have suspected? It's me. So there is a service for public libraries. What is the app called? It is called Overdrive, which is basically just like an audiobook library you can access with your library card. And I've been getting deep into that, and I've been reading Annihilation, which is the book that the movie was based on, the Natalie Portman sci-fi movie.
Oh, cool.
And it's 3 books. I read the first one and finished it, and I'm like halfway through the second one, which I don't quite like as much, but is still good. But it is just this. I love the movie Annihilation. That was like one of my favorite movies in the last few years. And I have a lot of time to listen to audiobooks in my job right now, but it's like, if you don't know the plot of it, it's like this story about this like weird phenomenon where this entire like area of the world just gets like enveloped in this weird bubble of just like scientifically nebulous stuff. And like it's about like the government, forming this like clandestine organization and like sending people in there to try to figure out what the fuck's up with it. And the first book is really interesting because it's supremely interior. It's like all about this one woman and her perspective as she's like on this expedition into Area X, they call it. And it has a really fascinating way of like playing with like the sort of Lovecraftian horror elements of it. They describe all these organisms that are like sort of undescribable, and like the way the specificity of the pieces of information that the author chooses to give you are so evocative. There's this part where they talk about like there being just like this monster that screams in the woods, and they like don't know what it is, and it never like comes out or does anything, so they learn to kind of ignore it. But at one point they're being chased by it, and they discover just like the skin that it has left behind from like shedding, and they're like,
Ooh.
oh, this is like a human face and arms and hands and fingers and stuff attached to who knows what else. And they don't like ever describe the actual creature itself, but they're just like, we found this skin and it defo had a human face on it. And it's so scary and so creepy, and I'm really into it. So that's Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer.
Huh.
I think is good.
Interesting.
It's kind of, it sounds a little SCP-ish.
Yeah, it does
Like,
kind of have
with
that
monsters,
vibe.
yeah.
Have any of you guys seen Annihilation?
I
I
have
have
not.
not. It's on my
Ooh,
list.
That movie fucks. I mean, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't give away too much of it, but that movie truly rules.
It's like it's super smooth in like its visuals, but it like the story is so like crunchy, and like Oscar Isaac is so good.
Yeah.
I love it. It's really good. And I really love like those fantastical visuals, but in like a scientific context. I think those are always really fun.
Yeah. The final scene of the movie Annihilation like is so haunting. Like I think about it like I mean, I guess not the very final scene, but like the big final act moment. There are like sound design choices in that scene that I like literally dream about. They're so crazy. So I guess I'll recommend that movie too. Annihilation, both the book and the movie, truly kick ass.
How intelligent you are.
to
You
read
might
the
like
book
the book
before you
or
watch
the
the movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Or you have to read the book before you watch the movie. That happens sometimes.
The book's always better.
I don't even think that. I mean, I don't know. I think between the two, they're very different. They're sort of both just playing on the same generalized idea, and the events within that like idea are very different between the two. But I always think reading books that movies are based on is just a cool, worthwhile experience no matter what, because like it's fascinating to think about the choices of adaptation, and it's a way of engaging with that movie that you don't have access to if you haven't read it, you know? And like my hot take is that 9 times out of 10 like the books I've read that movies are based on, I like the movies a lot better just because I value succinctness a lot of the time. But like it's
not fair to compare the book and the movie.
Well,
like,
yeah.
of course they're telling the same story, but like say one is better than the other is just
right.
stupid, basically.
But yeah, like Annihilation, Fight Club, The Martian, The Shining, these are examples of movies based on books that I've read. Like all of those I think I like the movie better, like truly. And which is just, I don't know. It's a weird thing that people like to talk about that I have an odd relationship with the way people think about it. I don't know.
I wanted to move on to a different topic, if that's okay. Are you done talking about Annihilation?
Yeah, no, sure.
I don't know if this is gonna be as interesting for the people to hear, but it's kind of like behind the curtain stuff. I really want, it's just because we're talking about My Little Pony, basically, but like I really want to start talking about stuff other than movies, because we kind of joke that it's a pop culture podcast, but we only talk about movies. But like I would love to like, we would have to like pick it out like in advance to give ourselves enough time to watch it. But like I would love to just like pick a season of a TV show and like have an episode about that, or like a group of episodes or whatever.
Well, we're doing
'Cause,
that
like,
with WandaVision, aren't we? Didn't we decide we wanted to keep up with that?
Are we doing WandaVision?
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever actually decided that.
Yeah, totally. We were
Okay,
gonna do
well
it.
then, yeah.
We were gonna do it this time, but we ended up recording on Thursday. That premiere is tomorrow, so we can do that next week.
Is that coming out all at once, or is that doing like episodic?
It's coming out weekly.
Okay, gotcha. So never mind. Fuck me.
Yeah, fuck you. We can let you go, Meg. We kept you a little.
Yeah,
bit
it
longer
must be. You must be. I would be tired if I were you. I'm tired right now. And it's like 7 p.m.
Yeah, I work in the office still, so I like have to be tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem.
He does it.
We'll call it a day. Thank you so much for showing up, Meg. Thank you everybody for watching.
Yeah,
We really
thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me, guys.
Yeah.
And we'll
Yeah.
see you around. I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna do it. I swear to God, I'm gonna do it. 3, 2, 1.
I don't care.
now.
This for Gribble.
Guys,